Okay, I will get the recap up then. This one's a bit shorter than usual. When last we left our party, they had claimed their own territory and held it against Mind Flayer invasion. In the process of this, they learned of the secret base that the Fang of Immolation had been using. However, these victories came with a heavy cost, as Erlan sacrificed his life defending a stunned Risu and Taito, while the Elder Brain escaped. The party brought him back to Hyar Kingdom and had Zeltar heal what injuries they could in order to make the resurrection process a little bit easier. They met with a freshly healed Virtue, who told them the tale of how he was captured and interrogated by Zernas, and the party brought him to the Citadel of the Moon, where he hopes to find answers about what may await the party when they finally go to Nexus. They also set up a meeting between Ott and the Match Sellers Guild to be held sometime in the near future after Erlan is returned to life. Meanwhile, Erlan's spirit dwells within the realm of Mortis, awaiting his return to life. However, he was surprised by the arrival of another god. Bahamut, the Platinum Dragon and the eldest of the gods, came to visit Erlan and provide him with answers. He called Erlan one of his chosen and offered him an eternity in paradise as a reward for his heroic sacrifice. Erlan, however, was unimpressed by the machinations of the gods and asked why Bahamut had been so uninvolved with their current situation. Bahamut confessed that he was sympathetic to the plight of the Fang of Immolation and hinted that they may find some more answers from a poem called the Elegy for the First World. In the meantime, the party set off for Dragon's Rest with Erlan's body in tow, hoping that the Queen of the Dragons will have some way of reviving him. Now, obviously, at the end of last session, things got a little bit put out of order. So, to clear some things up about where we will say things are, you guys are currently on Hyar Kingdom, having just collected Erlan's body. I'm not going to worry too much about like days of travel between Citadel of the Moon and Hyar Kingdom and spell slots having to have been spent because things were a little bit out of your control there. The meeting that you were going to have, Rob, with the Match Sellers Guild, that has been arranged, although not for any specific time. It's more just you can show up whenever you're ready and they'll be expecting you. So as soon as you feel like going, they'll be ready to receive you. Currently, Virtue is in the University of the Prismatic Shard on the Citadel of the Moon. And you, I'm assuming, should all be pretty fresh from a long rest and ready to teleport to Dragon's Rest as soon as you feel like it. And I will put on some background music and hand over the reins to you all. Okay, I won't put on some background music. Interesting. 1 second. This is fine because I have the Spotify playlists instead, which aren't going to be perfect, but let's go with Atmosphere the Capital. Sounds good. And between this session and next, I will have to get a new Discord bot.
Seems that way.
Oh, well.
It's a bit loud on my side.
I should have tested that earlier. Anyway, you guys are all back in Hyar Kingdom, currently having just collected Erlan's body from where you left him resting in his bed. I believe the plan is to take him to Dragon's Rest.
Yeah, I believe that is the case. I think we have got a spell slot to send ourselves there, haven't we?
You should do, yeah. Well, I'm just going to sort of hand wave away the spell slots and say that you're all fresh from a long rest.
Okay. How are we transporting him? Can we drag him behind us with a rope by his feet.
That feels a bit
No,
undignified.
I was gonna say let's give him some dignity here. He did basically sacrifice his life for Rasulian.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think just get ourselves all prepped and start making a move.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything we need from here. No. Trying to remember what even happened to
What did we do? We were just bossing that kid
Shopping.
around who came up to
I
see
mean,
us
you've
when we
kind
got
of
back.
left.
That is true.
Sorry, say that again, Rob.
Oh, so we did shopping.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, you did shopping. You kind of left things just sort of ongoing with the construction happening at High Kingdom, which will be finished within the next week.
Yeah. So I think it was just bounce our way over to Dragon's Rest. Probably best to obviously tell them we're coming.
Mhm.
Last thing we need is because I'm pretty certain they won't just go on guard. They'll more than likely just insta attack anything that appears in their place without realizing what it is first. Unlike the guards at places where they'll go into a defensive mode.
You telling me we can't jump through the portal and just shout on
I
guard
was
with
gonna
swords
say,
out?
this must be the first time we've actually warned someone ahead of it.
Yeah, it probably
Just
will
show
be.
up unexpected. And everyone's
That's
like,
not
"Oh,
true,
cool."
actually. One time, Ott sent a message to some random guy in Bulwark who had absolutely no idea what was going on.
I'll probably
yeah.
pass it in the street.
Do you want to do that again?
It was just like some random guard that you knew.
Oh, okay. But you had to go find the relevant people.
Yeah.
He ran off and,
So like you
explained something.
teleported and he hadn't had time to like sort things out yet.
Oh, good times.
Anyway, so
Do it again.
I think it's Ott who has sending there.
Yeah. So
Who
I'll
would you
use-
like to contact?
So we've met. Oh, wait. So which city are we going into?
Dragon's Rest.
The Dragon's Rest.
I
Okay.
hope.
Yeah. Who do I know in Dragon's Rest? Everand. Or-
Eberron is, I believe, the
Or
name of the
Cisco?
copper dragon who lives in Dragon's Rest, who had been doing some investigating into the actions of the Fang of Immolation. He
Yeah.
was the one who told you that the green dragon had been revived as a zombie dragon that you then killed a second time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell Everand.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you're going to say to him?
I'll just say the what we called it? What we called again? The
Virtuosos.
no, with the Chad Backstreet's Chad, all right.
Okay.
For Christ's sake.
Chad Street Boys.
Chad Street Boys, that's the one. The Chad Street Boys are coming, and they're not going to have a clue who the Chad Street Boys are, but Chad Street Boys are coming.
Okay. It's that you just like ominously like a
Yeah.
voice in his mind says
The
Chad
Chad
Street Boys are coming.
Boys are coming. 6 words. That's all.
That sounds like a threat.
It does sound like a threat.
Okay.
I'm not gonna
Well,
lie.
he has 25 words to
6 out of
reply.
25.
So I imagine it's What? Is that a threat?
And I'll
Wait, what?
Can
Hang on.
I with
We're at 7 words so far. Wait, what? I was under the impression that the virtuosos would be here today. 6 words remaining, I think. The Queen said to meet you. I think that's 25.
Oh, so are you going to relay that message?
yeah, I'll relay it to everyone else.
Oh, so wait, they're expecting us?
First you've heard of it.
Yeah.
Apparently,
How the hell did they know?
someone else sent a message in advance because they know our track history.
I mean, they're not wrong. But yeah, I guess we can then make our way there and not worry about it. Although I'm a bit concerned on how they knew.
Mystery.
We'll ask
Smiley
when we get
face.
Don't say that, please.
there. Oh, ominous.
Okay, so you Nick, is there anywhere in particular within Dragon's Rest that you think you would teleport to, or just...
Can we see the map?
Yep.
Let's see.
Oh, it's a 3rd level spell. Bloody hell, okay.
Sending is, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the tower that Francisca had allowed you to be staying in previously.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because we've already been
Yeah.
there before. Would that make the teleporting easier to do as well? Or does it not really
I
matter
would
'cause we've
say
already
that
been there?
this is a place that you are very familiar with. You've
Yeah.
stayed several days there. You've been backwards and forwards and doing quests there. Let's just see how teleport works quickly. Teleport. 7th level conjuration spell. So you don't have an associated object. There isn't a permanent circle. I would say you are very familiar. So if you'd like to roll a D100 for me.
Oh, by the way, just because you like description, Logan,
Uh-huh.
the way that Ott sends the message spell is by holding up his hand in a finger and thumb.
In like a
So
phone
it's
symbol.
like a phone symbol.
Jesus.
No one has
damn
any
it.
idea what Ott's doing, like because like phones don't exist. But he's just trying to communicate, tell everyone else that he's sending a communication spell. Otherwise, he could just be standing there talking to himself. You know, he needs to make it
Talking to
clear.
yourself.
It's like the word hello. It didn't exist before the telephone.
I like to imagine that.
I'm not
Art
sure I believe
taps
that.
the pinky to test that the microphone's working.
Uh-huh. Flicks his little finger.
Yeah.
Okay. With
Anyway,
a
nat
100 on your
100.
D100, you arrive exactly where you intended, landing
On one of our old footprints, exactly.
directly in your footprint.
Yeah.
For some reason, no one has cleared the way. Would you land inside the tower or just outside of it?
At the entrance to it?
Sorry, you're a little bit quiet, Rob. Nick.
Oh, hold on.
Is there a magic surge?
Oh yeah, there would be, wouldn't there?
Oh yeah, roll a
Hold on a
D20.
sec. Is that
Come
That's
is that
better.
louder?
Plant pots,
That's
Nick.
better, isn't it? Yeah, right. D20, yeah?
Mhm.
Gonna turn me into a plant pot?
14, no surge.
Oh.
Ooh.
Is it,
Why
what,
do you
10 or
never
lower?
get wild magic surges?
I know.
Is it
Can't
5
you
or lower?
up the numbers a bit?
I did. It's 5 or lower. It's already 5 times what it should be.
Make it 10 or lower.
Okay. That would be
50-50
awful.
chance.
Yeah, no, a 50-50 chance on that would be awful. You
You're
don't
just
want that.
becoming spectral every time you do a spell.
I mean, if you
I got-
wanted to, you could always do the chaos one that allows Logan to choose when you actually get.
Tides of Chaos.
Yeah, Tides of Chaos. That's the one.
Oh, yeah.
I reread that. I think I can still only choose after you cast a spell. It's just I can choose you to get a wild magic surge without you rolling for it. But so you still, it's not like you're just in the middle of a conversation, then all of a sudden you explode into flumps. It's it's when you're casting a spell you explode into flumps. Anyway, so you all land in a beam of prismatic light just at the entrance to this tower, and I think Everand would probably be in the process of flying down towards you already, because you sort of warned him that you were arriving, and he lives fairly close. So this enormous copper dragon would slam into the ground next to you, shaking the earth beneath your feet, and look down at you all and say, "So, what's the deal with these Chad Street boys?"
I give him a really weird look. I was like, "What the hell are you on about?"
I got 4 words. The Chad Street Boys. Wait, that's 6 words, but even so. There was no context, Yulia.
I
Break out
just
into a Backstreet Boys dance or something.
no. I just turn to Art and be like, "What?" It's
We're
confused.
saving
Just
our
like-
friend,
just like-
Chad.
What actually are you doing with Erlan's body right now? Is it in the bag of holding, or is someone like carrying it?
Slumped
Or...
over someone's shoulder.
Probably because it's still got like the thing stop it decaying, right? It's still got the spell.
Yeah.
Probably carrying it then because I know it's not decaying.
Is it rolled
Yeah,
up
you got
in
like
a,
10 days before it starts decaying.
Is it rolled
Yeah,
up
so-
in a in a rug?
No.
It's like a
We
princess
should
carry.
get that. We should get that kid I was trying to get coffee for us to carry him.
No.
I'm really hoping
That
on
would be
one
a
of those
terrible idea.
on one of those chairs that takes 4 people to carry. You know, it's like 2 poles on either side and a chair up on top, and there's 2 people,
Like one of
2
those
people at the back.
royalty parade.
Yeah,
things.
exactly. Yeah.
What is it? Palanquins or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had a name.
No.
Okay. Everan sort of like is listening to you guys like joking about how you're going to carry Erlan and
You heard
goes
this?
I mean, this is all happening while
Yeah.
like Yolya is
Yolya
like
is
cradling
RP.
him.
yeah, just I'm like watching you all be idiots for the umpteenth time.
And
One of which I'm more surprised at because he's the smartest of the group,
How many's an umpty?
or apparently is the smartest of the group. Arkin.
I
Once I got
imagine that like
resurrected,
everyone's
something,
first instinct would be like to realize your friend is dead and like, you know, try to be like, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. But then like before he says anything, you realize you guys are all just sort of like joking about it.
This is
It's
So
the
he
morning.
just like
mechanism.
he doesn't know how to respond.
It's the mourning process, damn it. We're mourning over the loss of our friend, kind of, for the shortest amount of time.
Kind of. You insisted on putting me in a rug earlier.
It's how I'm
Terrible.
Dylan will remember this.
Terrible person. Terrible person.
Good friend.
So Everan will sort of like awkwardly cough and like a little bit of fire comes out and he goes, the Queen said she would like to speak with you all alone. No other dragons present. I can lead you to her chamber. I mean, you already know where it is, but
Okay, sure. Wait, why does she want to? Okay, yeah, sure.
Or lights a cigarette off the flame that came out of.
I'd be more confused at where you got that cigarette from.
Erlan has infinite wine. I guess now Ott has infinite cigarettes. Only so long as he never tries to do anything useful with them.
That's fair.
Fuck me, the price of amber leaf has gone up by a gold piece.
Arkin lights up a fine Cuban cigar, apparently.
Fantasy Cuban.
Fantasy Cuban, yeah.
So yeah, Everan will sort of a bit awkwardly like looking back at you, like because normally if he was going to travel through the city, he would, you know, fly on account of being a dragon. So he's sort of like walking through the streets, still as an enormous dragon, sort of like looking back to see whether you guys are like following okay. Because there's like a just tremendous amount of debris that you have to pick your way through. Like this is just not a convenient city to move through. It's, you know, the ruins of a long dead city.
Not meant
That has
for
been-
people. 10
Yeah,
feet
it's
and
been
less
ruined
in
by
height.
dragons on top of already being ruins. So anyway, eventually you are all able to reach the enormous black tower that stretches above the clouds, within which you know that the Queen of Dragon's Rest resides. Just to set the scene again, you see the familiar sight of like various statues of all mismatched design and materials, which have likely been taken from various places and various hordes, all of like regents and scholars, all just sort of like looking out like these very strange gargoyles. And before you, an enormous set of stone doors. Everan reaches up with one clawed hand and slowly pushes the door open and says, "This is where I shall be leaving you. The Queen has said she does not wish any other dragons to intrude on whatever it is she wishes to discuss with you all."
Okay, well, thank you for bringing us here. We'll
Mhm.
make our leave in, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Again, you're just sort of reminded of the fact that like Everan is an incredibly like awkward dragon. He just like he's clearly just dealt with very few mortal beings in his life and doesn't really have any idea of how to treat you. Like there's no ill intent here. He just sort of like seems a little bit aloof.
Does he know that we're really squishy?
Yes.
Is he like conscious of the fact that he might just accidentally step on one of us?
Yes. Very much so. It's exactly that.
Oh,
It's
what's the
like
tail?
someone who like has never interacted with kids being like handed a baby. Just like held at arm's length, like, oh god. And again, he just sort of like stares at you and hopes that you'll go inside and not make this any worse for him than it already is.
Yeah, I guess we just start making our way, like walking in.
You hear like an audible sigh of relief as you like leave. And then like the sound of him like taking off and flying away. You all, for once, are not led down the enormous dimly lit hallway towards the Queen's chamber. And eventually you reach the entryway to the simply absurdly large pile of gold and treasures, where ordinarily there would be a small pseudo-dragon who you have previously found napping on the pile, who is, of course, the Queen's Herald. Instead, you are surprised to find a human woman sat upon a throne, waiting for you all. You very quickly realize that you aren't looking at a human. She's simply too tall to be a human. Long red hair that just doesn't sort of sit naturally and is just like incredibly stiff in such a way that you're fairly sure it's not actually hair.
It's a cardboard cutout of a person.
Yeah, this is, a person. She is like looking at you all. She appears to be breathing.
10-foot tall cardboard figure.
And as you step into the room, she stands up from the throne and begins to walk towards you all. And she will, I imagine, is Yolia like somewhere at the front of the group, or
Yeah,
you're
more
the
than
one carrying?
Yeah, I'd probably be
Erlan?
closer to the front.
Yeah,
Or, like,
so
at the front.
she would see Erlan's body, and you sort of hear like a very slight sigh as she approaches you and says, "I'm aware of your comrade's death. I believe it would be best if we began his revival process immediately. I'm not sure whether you've already done anything to make this easier or put any preparations in place."
We've only basically restored. Wait, how did you know?
I will have answers for you as soon as the whole party is present. I'd rather not have to explain twice.
Okay.
And it's very weird. It's very obvious that this is the Queen of Dragon's Rest. You've only ever seen her in this enormous draconic form. And speaking in a humanoid form, she sort of has these like very over dramatic like hand movements as she's speaking. Like she's used to making these enormous movements for them to be visible, and now like she's significantly smaller, these movements just seem like kind of manufactured and pointless.
But anyway, back on topic. Yes, we restored the missing parts that he had lost from the battle, and we have put the body in a sort of magical stasis.
She says, "May I see the body?" And like steps forward and doesn't really wait for a response before she like sort of brings up her hand and like lifts his hair to like see the scar where the mind flayer like split his skull open, and says, "Mind flayers, I believe."
That's right.
Well, it is well within my power to restore him to life. To my knowledge, you have previously done a similar ritual, so I don't suspect this is new for any of you.
Not at all.
Then let's begin. And she will begin to sort of walk like a large border around the room, like skirting around the edge of the pile of gold, until on the opposite side of this enormous circular chamber there is an identical set of doors, which she like single-handedly swings open because she's, despite the fact she is the size of a particularly large human, she is still a dragon. And you can see beyond these doors a stairway descending. One thing you would notice, these stairs, they don't really seem to like match the design or architecture of anything that you've seen in this building up until now. These appear to just be carved from the stone itself. And they just descend into utter darkness. There is no light sources down there. And the Queen says, "I trust you should have no trouble navigating in darkness."
Apart from me, I mean, I can hold.
I mean, you can navigate in darkness. You have blind sight out to 10 feet. You can't see very far. You have like a meter of perfect sense. I believe everyone else has dark vision, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Queen doesn't really like wait for a response. She just begins walking down the stairs, and as she does so, she will sort of like exposit a little bit to you and explain some very vague details.
As she starts, obviously we're pretty far from where she's just walked to, kind of just like get a
Yeah, like you have to sort of jog to catch up with her.
Yeah, it's like,
She's got like really long legs.
Yeah, because she's like a good 7.5 feet tall. She's like fucking enormous. So she's got like really long stride.
So she's got really long legs but a regular length body. So her proportions are really off. So halfling on top.
Sure. Regular length body, and then just like 4 feet of leg. Really like gangly looking.
She's the long-legged Mac Daddy.
What she says, "I would ask each of you to keep what you see down here in confidence. Most dragons will only come down here but once in their life when they are born." And she says, "Down below the city is the thing that brought me here, the beacon that guided me to create Dragon's Rest in the first place." And like as well, you sort of get the sense that clearly this staircase was like built for her, because the stairs are all like just far too large and too steep and too wide simultaneously for like anyone of normal proportions to climb down comfortably.
Did the Queen name Dragon's Rest Dragon's Rest?
It was not always named Dragon's Rest. It was named Dragon's Rest. The dragons took it. However, it was once a city called, I believe, Arda, which was owned by the Colossi before the Calamity.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what did you say it was called?
Arda, I think it was. Arda. Might be something for me to double check. Can't see it in my notes, but off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that was what it was called. Anyway, you are led down for several minutes as you descend deeper and deeper into the earth until eventually you begin to see a pale white light at the bottom of this staircase, which you emerge into what's more a cave than a chamber, as brick has long since given way to natural rock. And sprouting up in the middle of the cave appears to be sort of the branch of an enormous tree. And from it is hanging a single pale oval fruit of some description. Carved into the trunk of this single branch that seems to be sprouting up at a slight angle from the earth is a poem written in Draconic, which I don't believe any of you can read.
No, I can't read Draconic, but I would be able to understand if it was spoken, told to me in Draconic.
Isn't it part of my language?
The Queen will say, after the revival, I shall answer all of your questions about what you see here, about why I know what has happened to you, and about what I expect to happen next. However, first of all, one of your friends has fallen, must be rectified. And with that, she strides forward and reaches up to this oval fruit, which she then picks and whispers a brief apology in Draconic, which Yolia would pick up. And then extends the egg out, the fruit out, and you all see it is an enormous egg, which promptly crumbles in her hand, and spectral lights rise from it and head into Erland's chest. And we will begin in a moment the ritual to resurrect Erland. First of all, Matthew.
Hello.
You've been dead for about a day and a half now, shall we say?
Mm-hmm.
After your brief conversation with Bahamut, he left and you've been in the care of Mortis, who has generally been a pretty good host to you. He has been a pleasant conversationalist. He's been quite jovial about the whole thing. There was a brief time, sort of immediately after Bahamut left, where he was a little bit sour about the whole thing, about, you know, another god stepping in and stealing his thunder. But is there anything that you would have said or done during your time amongst the dead?
I think just staring into the void.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, at the minute you are just kind of in this like large black expanse, and there's, you know, a small house where you have been sort of cohabiting with Mortis, who neither eats nor sleeps. So like the single bed is yours, and all of the food is yours. And like he's been trying to like encourage you to find ways of passing the time, like offering you books and like offering to like play board games with you, and like chess is probably his favorite. Or like card games and games of chance.
Yeah.
And you will see sort of, it's very weird to see a smile on a skeleton, because they're kind of, you know, constantly smiling in a very macabre sort of way. However, he will say, it appears as though our time together will be soon drawing to a close. I'm sure
I'll see you soon, Morty. And I give him a handshake.
He reluctantly reaches out for your hand and says, before you go, I'm sure Bahamut will return to see you off soon, but I would like to speak with you on more serious matters. Just, I know Bahamut tried to give you the hard sell on remaining dead, but I would like to ask you to think carefully before you return to life. I know it's easy to see it as the default option, but you did die, and if you go out there, you're going to have to die again. At some point, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but it's inescapable. You've already gone through the hard part, Erlan, and all that awaits you here is paradise.
Wow, there's more fight to be had.
He sort of grimly looks at you and nods his head. And then in like a brilliant flash of like platinum and silvery light, the old man with his 7 golden canaries bursts in between you both and sort of like breaks the handshake and goes, Erlan, I was hoping to speak to you before you left.
Hello again.
Hello again, indeed. I trust Mortis has once again attempted to tempt you to remain dead.
He has indeed.
Please don't think too poorly. It is our job.
Of course. I guess I'll be seeing you both eventually again.
Most certainly you will. Perhaps, hopefully, under better circumstance. You've already had one more heroic sacrifice than most will in a lifetime.
Wow.
He like looks over at Mortis and says, Mortis, if you wouldn't mind, you know, a private moment. And Mortis just sort of like puffs and like dissipates with like a rattle of bones. And Bahamut like flashes you and smile and goes, he's very dramatic like that. I hope you've enjoyed your stay in his domain. Mortis keeps a fairly sparse house, but he is, if nothing else, a good host.
Indeed.
And Bahamut, sort of like, I imagine that, like, with your conversation earlier and the fact that you just sort of like saw through him immediately, you've kind of managed to gain some insight into him. And he seems to be like beating around the bush and like a topic that he knows he should discuss with you that he doesn't really want to. And he like looks down at you and says, Erlan, if you choose to return to life, there's very little doubt in my mind that you will face the Fang of Immolation in battle very soon. If I have the measure of you and your friends right, I do suspect that you will defeat him, which isn't something that brings me as much joy, I confess, as it probably should do. I will say to you that the poem I told you about earlier, the Elegy for the First World, while I do recommend you still seek it out if you wish to understand the motivation of the Fang of Immolation, I wouldn't take every word of it as gospel truth. It's an embellishment, a biased retelling of a very old story. Not one that I'm particularly comfortable with sharing myself. And he seems a little bit, you know, genuinely upset for a moment before that sort of like fades and he puts back up his jovial facade. And he says to you, I believe I may have spoken a little bit too grandiosely when last we met, and I declared you mine and my champion. The rules are a little bit different for me than they are for the other gods. And by that I mean the rules are exactly the same, but I don't follow them to the same letter. The other gods keep the world at an arm's length, and they do this for very good reason. However, I will admit that sometimes I get a little bit bored, and sometimes I leave my domain. What the fuck?
Why is this such a
Damn.
din?
Well done, Spotify.
What on earth is?
Damn, that was funky way to talk to me about the gods.
What?
Fucking hell! God
What
damn it!
is
Is
it
that
with
is that Mortis in the
Fucking
back? Just accident-
Spotify!
why? But like, is that actually in that playlist?
No, I don't
How
believe
did it?
so.
How did it get in there?
Sorry, guys,
then?
that played way earlier than I expected. It was Return of the Mac.
Okay.
Rob, for fuck's sake.
Funny. Sorry, Logan.
Okay.
Carry on.
Well, that having completely derailed us there.
Jesus fucking
Yeah.
Christ.
We're just going to rewind a second. Bahamut says, I do occasionally leave my domain to walk amongst mortal men. And when I do, I'm known to find those who I take an interest in, those who impress me by virtue of strength or by character. When I say that you are a chosen of mine, I mean that you are one who I have found to be particularly compelling. You are not Istus's, you are not fated for greatness, but I believe greatness awaits you. And I believe greatness awaits you by virtue of your character.
Okay.
It is why I'm not surprised by your decision to face death and danger once again.
Indeed.
There aren't many who could lose their lives in such a traumatic way as you had, and immediately be raring to jump back into the fight. I just wanted you to know before you depart, and before I'm unable to speak with you again, that I do think it is a virtue of yours. And that while I am a bit more reticent to throw my full support behind you than I perhaps should be, I do believe and hope for your victory.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the information.
It's been a pleasure, Erlan. Let's hope we don't have to speak again too soon. And with that, in another flash of platinum and silver light, he vanishes again, leaving like this patch of what had previously been like just black void ground is now like polished silver and platinum, which like Mortis returns with like a clatter of bones and looks down at the platinum and goes, "It's going to take so long for me to clean that. You have no idea."
Oh,
Now then, the ritual begins back in the world of the living, and the way that this has previously worked is I have brought you all into a separate room and asked you individually what it is you would like to sacrifice. We're not going to do that this time, partially because this death in particular feels a little bit unfair, partially because it just takes a long time to drag everyone into a separate room. So having you all separated from one another kind of encourages you all to spend more on this sacrifice than if you were all just able to communicate with yourselves as you do so. So I won't be pulling you all into a separate room. However, is there anyone in particular who would like to make a sacrifice first? I will tell you again, sacrifices can be anything from money, magic items, aspects of your own character, abilities you might have. So it's very loosely defined. It's anything that you would sacrifice in exchange for Erlan's life. What I will say is there's going to be a bonus for this. Ordinarily, each sacrifice that you give is worth between 1 and 10 points. There will be 10 points added for you reviving Zeltar, and there will be 10 points for the sacrifice that the Queen has made. So you're already starting at 20 points, and then Matt will be rolling a D100 at the end and adding whatever the value of your sacrifices was. And based on that roll, he will get either a bad or either a good.
Did you say there was a maximum to what's required?
Yes, maximum of 10 points from each of you.
No, sorry, I meant like in total to basically.
If you
return Matt in full.
if the roll plus your sacrifices goes over 100, Erlan gains a positive effect instead of a negative effect.
Okay. Is it a greater positive or greater negative effect the further it is away
Yes.
from 100?
So lower numbers are worse.
Yeah.
I will tell you just from the 20 that's already in there, most of the really nasty stuff is already locked out.
Returns with no fingers.
So most of this is fixable. If this, partially because like I don't want to punish Matt for like a session where he wasn't even here, where I got him killed, and partially because I don't really feel like it's necessary at this point in the game. A lot of the things are fixable. Either way, is there anyone who wants to go first? Otherwise, I'm going to start picking on you.
I've got some magic items that I've either never used or need attunement and that sort of thing, and I think I'm okay without them, so I don't know whether they would be worth much.
So the value of this is more based on how much you will miss it than the actual power.
I mean, I use them all the time, and I was planning to use them forever.
I mean, like this, whether it's like a super expensive or powerful thing, does have an effect on it. However,
more to do
something
with personal
cheaper that you would
attachment
miss a
to it.
lot is worth more than something that's just very expensive but you don't care about.
Okay. In that case, let me have a look in my inventory again.
Ott's going to offer out his magic explosive coal.
Your bag of coal.
The bag of coal. I only have one left. One bag. Is it one bag or one lump?
One lump.
One lump in the bag. Yeah, but yeah, special value to him. He's been holding tight for the last few Christmases.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is only a single piece of coal. However, it is something with sentimental value to what it is something that he's been holding on to for a special occasion. And it is something that has been very useful in past. So I would say that the single piece of coal is worth 4 points.
Cool.
Okay, I've got an interesting one.
Okay.
I don't know whether you'll actually say that this is worth anything or not, but I guess it depends on how I phrase it. So, when we first set my character up, you were asking what sort of interesting thing do you want from your past. I've got a letter from a dead colleague. That would mean a lot, right? Someone I used to work with. Someone I cared deeply about enough to have a letter.
It is a letter that you have
And,
had this entire time.
I've had
It is
it
something that you have
for
never
years.
looked at even a single time, and it is a
I never
completely
wanted
mundane
to
and worthless
relive the
item.
memories of what an amazing friend he was.
I could be kind and give you 1 point for it.
Just wait. What's his name?
Yeah, what's his name? Give me a backstory right now, and I'll make it 5 points.
Wow.
Quick, randomnamegenerator.com.
No, I want a whole backstory.
Of
Make
who
it
this
a
guy
second
was
point.
and how he was important to
Yeah,
you.
and how he died, and what the letter says.
Convinced Logan.
Can
Yeah,
you
really
sacrifice-
sell it to me, Rob.
Rob, quick, send me a DM. I can read it out.
Send me a DM, I can read it.
See, I know what other things I might get rid of that have more sentimental value to me than your poxy little note.
Mhm.
Which is
Can we-
of equal weight, probably.
In the meantime, Risu, is there anything you would think of? Obviously, Erland lost his life in defense of you and Taito.
My dead
Like-
colleague lost his life as well. I'll never get over
In
it.
defense of Risu and Taito.
Yep. Yep.
I'd like to sacrifice Hayakin's jokes about his curse. It would mean so
I'm
much
afraid
to
that's
me.
not yours to sacrifice, Sarah.
It would...
Where did you say the previous 20 points came from? 10 from who and where?
They came from the Dungeon Master, basically. 10 came from the Dragon Queen sacrificing the egg, and 10 came from the healing that you had done to Erland's body, we'll say. Just to justify the 20-point bonus that I've given you.
Cool.
Guess I could sacrifice my fire-eating dancing abilities. That gives me free lodgings.
Sorry, Sarah, you're really quiet. I can't actually hear you
Quiet?
properly right now.
My fire-eating dancing skills so that I get free lodging, I guess.
Okay.
That never really happened.
I know what that is. That's based on your background.
Yeah.
I'll say it is a permanent ability from your character that you would be losing. However, it's not one you've ever used or really seen any interest in using in the future. I could say 4 points for it.
Fairly generous.
I mean, if you could sell it to me.
I won't be able to dance anymore. I can't eat fire.
Uh-huh.
I'll probably burn. A lot.
Delicious chicken. Uh-huh.
And
Are you gonna make a persuasion check against the DM?
Yeah. I'm not persuasive. Yeah.
I'll give myself a +5. Ooh, you hate to see it.
There's no need for that.
You hate to see it. Yeah, 4 points.
4 points.
If that's what you wish to sacrifice.
I haven't really buffed myself much unless I get rid of things that would... I got an owlbear plushie, or did someone take that from me?
No, no one's took
I
that from
believe
you.
so.
I
No,
think.
that was from the carnival.
Did I not give it to someone? Okay.
I don't think you did. You can... I'll allow you to go up the owlbear plushie for an additional 1 point.
No, I like the bear.
And bring you up to 5.
I've got a fighting action Yolya, but I'm not giving that away. Sentimental.
Okay. Wow.
That'd be worth a lot of points then if that was sentimental
Yeah,
for
you're
you.
gonna say it's really
Well, yeah. See, the
sentimental.
thing is, when the next person dies, it'll have more value then. Nice, nice boobs.
I'd
Alex.
say you that you're saying it like it's inevitable.
So that you guys are aware, like, stuff with absolutely no value that, like, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, my character really cares about this. That's 1 point. Like, if you want to throw it into the mix and just add an extra point to it, I'll allow it. But
Where was returning Gust from? That special iron dagger.
ooh, that is
Because it was a recent thing, but
it is, yeah. It was from In the Absent Range, the place where you got the sonic oscillator and the spear.
glad you remember. Yeah, I was considering giving that up only because it's not an item that I have attuned, and
It is a very good magic item. Be worth a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll switch out Boreal Blade or something. I need to weigh them up. I'll come back to that.
So, Sarah, owlbear plushie and fire dancing for 5 points. Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to give up the owlbear, do you?
Excellent. So I'm writing this down. It's 5 points. Okay. So far we've got Art and Risu written down.
Didn't he? I can give 1 point worth of paper.
I
No,
mean,
I'm
is that
keeping
what
that.
you want to give?
I've
I
got
was
something
kind of giving
else.
you time to come up with this whole
Yeah.
backstory now.
No, I've given up on that. I've got something
Okay.
else.
Okay,
Something.
you've got some...
Yeah, I don't want to think too hard.
How much is Erland worth to you? You know,
Not
he
as
did
much as
bring
my
you
dead
back
colleague.
to life and everything. He did
sacrifice
sacrifice his
Lackey.
luck for you.
Not as much as the dead colleague, who was actually my wife.
It was actually your wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, how about this? Something that literally saved our lives.
Okay.
Something that without it, we would all be in a situation right now, and there'd be no one to bring us back.
I cannot wait for how worthless this is going to be now.
It's not. It's not. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Okay.
He's getting rid of his island.
Yeah, High Kingdom.
Oh, imagine.
Not really. Cloak of the Manta Ray.
Okay.
The thing that saved us. The thing
Uh,
that could possibly save us again, but I'm going to
Yes.
sacrifice it for my friend.
Aw.
Okay.
How's that?
Magic item with decent money. Something that you do have fond memories of and have put to use before. I can see. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. Keep bigging it up. Come on.
It's not enormously powerful.
It's
It is,
incredibly
however,
powerful.
got some utility, and it is something that you have held off on, like selling or being rid of before because of the sentimental value to you
Very,
that it
very
has.
sentimental.
I can give you 7 points for it.
7. Sounds good.
So I'm up to
Sounds
11
good.
so far.
Sounds good. Okay. I'll throw it in the ring. Goodbye, precious cloak.
I can cloak for 7 points. So we have still got Ott. We've had Ott with the bag of
Yep.
coal. We've had Risu with the plush and her ability to dance. We've had Hyarkin. So I believe it's just Yolia who we're waiting on.
Are you going to sacrifice anything else, Rob?
Art wants to sacrifice something else. Does
Okay.
the name Magnum Opus ring a bell to anyone?
Oh, it's those
nudes.
goddamn fucking pictures, isn't it?
It's the nudes.
It's the nudes.
Fucking nudes. 1 point. 1
Oh,
point, and
that's
only
not-
because
name
it's
was
funny.
Magnum
It's not. It's not even worth
Uh,
1 point to me. No, I'm not gonna waste my Magnum
Okay.
Opus CEO nude portraits just to. Yeah.
I mean, he gave them to you in trust, like, you know, as a fellow connoisseur of art. He considers you to be like his best friend in the world now after that one
That's-
conversation.
Oh.
I need to pay him a visit, but no, I'm keeping those. Forget it.
Okay. So is that everything from everyone?
What's the difference between a silver short sword and a silver great sword? Apparently got both. I didn't realize. Great sword.
Great sword is a very big sword. Short sword is a much smaller sword.
Could Ott could Ott fight with a great sword?
No.
Probably not.
Okay, great sword is gone. How much?
1 point,
1 point.
and only because it's silver.
Oh really?
Otherwise, it's just a sword. Like, it doesn't have any special abilities. It's just that it's silver, which means that it overcomes magic resist.
Oh, okay.
You sacrificing that then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that is +1 for sword. So Ott is giving up the bag of coal and the silver greatsword for 5 points. Risu is giving up the owlbear plushie and her ability to dance for 5 points. Hyarkin is
10.
giving up the cloak of the Manta Ray for 7 points.
So we're up to 17.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think we. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
That'll be fine.
No. Okay. Logan, I've already explained to you before what I was going to sacrifice then.
You have. Would you like to tell the others, or would you like to keep it secret?
Let's keep it a secret.
Ah.
There is no visual change to Yolia. With 10 points.
So 27.
I haven't given enough yet. I can't give half of what someone else has given. I've got to give a little bit more. Okay.
You will not compete with what I've just given up.
Worth 10 points.
Genuinely, there would be no way you could compete with it. Unless you also did
But I
the
mean,
same
like,
sacrifice.
adding up to 10. Yeah, I've already given 5.
You don't
so
need
far.
to. You don't need to.
But I don't want to be, like, slacking behind, you know.
I mean, it would be also on par because, remember, Ott isn't really favourable with Erlan. You don't really like him.
That's
so,
true.
you know, you're
Yeah, it does make
sacrificing enough
sense.
as it is.
Yeah, have a sword. It's not a great sword.
And in
for
comparison,
fucking-
Yoya has more a camaraderie to Erlan in terms of, like, even though he's a bit of a weirdo, she feels more to her companions than she's ever done to anyone else. So,
more love to give.
mm-hmm.
So, has everyone sacrificed everything they wish to?
Mm,
I definitely have. There's no way I could sacrifice anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, first of all,
Oh, sorry,
I'll ask one more
what's-
time.
What's a bullet plate?
Bullet plate?
Bullette. Oh, it's
It
a
is
dead
a-
animal skin. Okay.
Yeah, it's a plate from a dead monster that you beat. Not going to be worth anything. I'm not giving you a point for that one.
No, that's all right.
It means nothing to Ott. He doesn't even know what it is.
He's just chucking trash into the pile now,
Yeah.
just hoping.
The ritual will eat it if you chuck it in, but it won't be worth anything.
Here, have 5 copper pieces.
Mm,
Okay.
That's all.
In that case, Matt, I will ask you before you roll one last time.
Yeah.
Would Erlan like to come back to life?
yes, he would.
Okay. Please roll a D100 plus 47, I believe.
47.
Isn't it
Oh, yeah, because
27?
we gave a 20. Yeah, 47.
Oh. Awesome.
Oh, we only gave 20 points.
Oh!
147. Okay. So you do not gain a negative effect.
Mm.
Instead, you will gain a positive effect. Please roll a D10 for me.
No worries.
Grows an extra peen.
What's he rolled up?
Wait, so
A
10.
this doesn't make
What?
sense. We've had 2
He's
natural
like-
D100s
Damn.
and a natural 10. This doesn't make
He's
sense.
coming back as
The,
Superman.
the probability on this stuff is insane.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Oh,
also want to sing. Okay. So I know
Okay,
what you'll
yeah,
be
the curse
getting.
is broken.
I will explain it when you come back to life. There is one other thing. I would like you to roll a d20 for a small minor effect to you as a result of you returning to life.
Oh,
13.
damn.
Okay. Upon the soul's return, the colour of its windows have changed. Your eyes become an unnatural colour. And for the rest of you, what you all see is the sort of pale spectral lights which have been hovering around Erlan sweep to each of you and consume the things that you have sacrificed. A spectral light passes through both Rasulian and Yolya, leaving them seemingly unharmed, although missing something important. These lights all return to Erlan's body in Yolya's arms and begin to orbit him faster and faster as their glow begins to become brighter and brighter. It takes on a golden color, and eventually they all dart into Erlan's chest, and with a start and a brief cough and a splutter, Erlan returns to life. Erlan, you are currently being carried by Yolya in an unfamiliar stone chamber lit with pale light.
I kind of jump out his hands and go, I've got a god! I told you all! I've got a god! And I start like pointing at people's faces.
You actually hear a voice from your pocket, Erlan,
Mm.
which says, "That's right, he told you all!"
What?
Is that Rocky?
You reach into your pocket to find out what the source of the voice was.
Is it Rocky Chan?
I pick out
It's
Rocky-chan. My God.
Rocky-chan, now with an animated face, still with googly eyes, and
Yes.
drawn on in marker pen, a little smiley face that now moves as he talks. He says, "It's me, Anna! Because you rolled so well!"
This is horrible. I say that to his
Rocky-chan
face.
no longer requires attunement to give you luck.
Yes.
What?
I've got it.
Is that what he got from his
Uh,
his 10?
Yeah, so from the 10, I will read it for you. In the afterlife, you attracted a new companion. Apparently, it decided to return with you. You gain a celestial familiar if you are good, or a fiend familiar if you are evil. If you are neutral, as per the find familiar spell, you gain a normal familiar. I've kind of reflavored that specifically because it's Erlan and specifically because I think Rocky-chan is fun. There is now a celestial which has inhabited this already semi-sentient rock, and they've sort of merged.
And he's got the gingerbread
Damn.
man voice.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
Exactly.
It's me, Rocky-chan.
Jesus
Do
Christ.
you know Rocky Chan?
Well,
Rocky-chan.
married to the Rocky-chan.
She lives with the Rocky-chan.
He lives on Octavo Lane.
This is horrible. This thing is nightmare fuel.
The Queen sort of looks viscerally disturbed by the
Can everyone else hear Rocky Chan? Or just him?
Yep.
Oh no.
same piercing voice.
Oh.
I instantly go to my head. It's like to Seraphine and be like, "Oh, thank God, no one else can hear us have our conversations."
All of you hear Seraphine say, "No, I can do this at will."
What?
I literally look at my head like, "What?"
Have we heard Seraphine before?
I believe you have very briefly before.
Oh
You were aware of Seraphine's existence, but for the most part, she only speaks to Yolya.
man, I wish Rocky Chan would only speak to Erlan.
This is horrible.
You guys
This thing.
think, I have such a lovely voice.
I'm just gonna
like
stuff
grandma?
him into my. I'm just gonna stuff him into my bag and just put shit on top of it.
it's muffled. I can still see.
Horrible.
However, Erlan, you have your luck back.
Yes, I'm.
So long
very
as you
happy
keep
with that.
Rocky-chan.
Yeah, that's fine. That is very good. I'm very happy with that.
If Erlan throws Rocky Chan now, does Rocky Chan
No longer returns.
no longer returns?
Yeah,
That was part of the curse which was broken.
yeah.
Sad.
Damn, useful. Very useful. And I say, thank you very much for bringing me back.
I like to imagine that Yolya is still carrying Erlan, who just hasn't bothered to get down. yet.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point, I literally just drop him onto his ass.
One hit point.
My God, 1 hit point. God damn it.
That's what you're on.
I'm on 0 still, according to this. So looks like
Put
I'm
yourself
going
back up
back.
to 1 hit point.
Yeah, there we go. Down to 127.
Okay.
I get up and I go. So what did I miss?
Nothing.
At the
We
moment,
fought.
I look down at the ground and I'm like, nice frog.
Yeah,
Fits
I mean,
the room quite well.
Erlan, your last memories on this world before being taken away are you being eaten by a mind flayer. So,
I'm just very happy to be alive again. So
what color are
where
your
next?
eyes now? Then
I think they're probably the same. I don't think they would change. Maybe a bit
I
more
mean,
bloodshot.
that's what you rolled for.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, your
Yeah.
eyes are now an unnatural color.
Oh shit.
make them blood.
Purple.
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 Okay,
Yeah.
very anime protagonist.
Yeah.
Still with like a scraggly. Although no, your beard is like significantly more well groomed now because they
Yeah.
did that while you were dead.
Yeah.
There's plants and bows in it.
Mhm.
Damn.
You put little ribbons in it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Erlan looks fabulous.
Ah. Right. So where to next?
The queen like has been sort of trying to like give you guys a moment. Like coughs into her hand a moment.
Okay. Hello. Thank you.
Literally, I can imagine like he's just on the floor. It's like, so what's happening? There's a cough, and then I'm just
Like,
no, it's just
everyone looks
above
over.
him. I'm just like over the top, and I just like point towards the queen.
Thank
She
you very
says,
much.
You're quite welcome. There's much we have to discuss, I'm afraid. Not all of it is incredibly joyful, but I hope you can all feel reason to celebrate that your friend is returned to you.
It's good to see him back.
Thank you.
I'll say.
What seems like, mildly upset.
Who? Oh,
You.
yeah.
It's like, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Wasn't
I
worth
had
that.
to give up my bag of coal.
My silver greatsword. I could have sold that.
Could have sold that. That was like worth 30 gold.
Oh, really? Only 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a normal sword, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, unenchanted, yes. Yeah. How much would have a inanimate potion gone for?
That's the potion that is like super cursed and permanently turns you into an inanimate object.
Yeah,
and is like super unreliable.
Yeah, it makes someone
I don't know. I'd have given you 2 points for it.
I'm going to use it.
I mean, Matt rolled a natural 100, so all of your sacrifices were
Somehow,
actually
Matt rolled-
worthless.
I know.
Oh my god. I'm
Jeez.
sorry, guys.
You
They
hate to
never
see
dance
it.
again.
I tell you, you will never gonna dance again. These guilty feet.
Yeah, but these people
They in
don't. They
fact
don't need
have
to
no
know that.
rhythm.
They wouldn't have known that.
That's true.
Here I was trying to fling away more of my items in favour of this buffoon.
Well, Erlan is going to remember when one of you dies, what you gave up for him. This time it might not be his luck.
I wonder if we'll ever find out what Yolya gave.
You'll have to wait and see.
No aging. No Seraphine, so
Seraphine is still there.
still nattering away.
Mm-hmm. No, would there be any sort of visual change to Yolya, do you think?
Nah.
Because it's not really a part of you, is it? It's more
something else. So no,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a part.
I don't
of me.
think there'd be a visual change.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing changed with Yoya.
Mm-hmm. Yolya gave nothing.
Essentially,
this was all a trick.
Does
it
the rest
was
of the
just
party think so?
somehow worth 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the party doesn't see that. Did they see like special dust?
I mean, like you saw one of the like spectral motes pass through Yolya, which implies that she gave up something.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
To the rest of you, I imagine you would have seen Yolya close her eyes, mutter something, and then nod her head.
Yeah, just something like that.
And the Queen will say, "Well, now that you're all returned to life, I believe I owe you all some explanations."
I guess so.
What would it seem to?
An explanation on what?
Well, you had some questions when you first arrived, how I knew of your upcoming arrival, what this place is.
That's true.
The reason for my current demeanor towards you. This isn't information that I casually share. This is in fact, what you could consider to be very privileged. There's only one other mortal being who I have shared this knowledge with. Hero of times long past that you would know as Aegis. When I had recently founded Dragon's Rest, I invited him here to speak on important matters. I can't say I found him to be particularly impressive. I am more fond of all of you. However, I am now going to let you in on Dragonkind's best kept secret. One that even most dragons are not aware of. I'm sure by now you're all aware that most elder dragons gain true sight that allows them to pierce the veil and see through illusions to what things truly are. What most would not be aware of is that this is just the beginnings of a dragon's perception. And when a dragon becomes sufficiently powerful, or sufficiently old, or sufficiently wealthy, they gain a new and much less reliable ability. One that we've taken to calling Dragon Sight. While True Sight allows us to see things as they truly are, Dragon Sight allows perception not limited by space or time. We can see to faraway places and days long gone. My father once told me stories about seeing other worlds and alternate versions of himself in those worlds. It was the first inklings of my own dragon sight that led me to come here and create Dragon's Rest. And it was my own dragon sight that told me of poor Erlang's demise. Through this dragon sight, I'm able to gain just the briefest hint of futures that may come to pass. And it has become clear to me that without your help, this place that I've built is doomed. I have seen Xernas's forces waiting for you to move so that they can begin their attack wherever you will not be present to stop them. And I have little hope for the fate of Farward, should you choose to assist us instead of them. I think it's only fair that I let you know exactly what you're getting into. Either Farward will fall, as I expect, many shall lose their lives in its defense, or Dragon's Rest will fall, and many shall lose their lives, and then even more shall lose their lives in the aftermath, when the Fang of Immolation is unleashed upon this one. Is there any particular reaction from the party at any of this information?
So she basically said she gained the ability of like future sight. Is that what you're saying?
Some very limited version of it, yes.
She can see
From
how
what
much
she
left
said, it seems to be an inherent ability that most dragons, when they become sufficiently old or sufficiently powerful, gain some measure of. You've never heard of such an ability from any of the other old dragons that you've ever met, so it must be something that's limited to only exceptionally old dragons, like the Queen. And most likely the Fang of Immolation.
So at this point, I says, does your future sight ever show you that we already know their position of the Fang? Where they're hiding?
It did not know. Do you mean to say that you do know where the Fang of Immolation is?
Yes, we do. Or where they should be, anyway.
And she sort of looks back at this like large branch of a tree that she's just plucked an egg from, and like takes a moment and then looks back at all of you and says, "Is this information that you offer freely?"
I'd say so.
I look towards like everyone else. It's like we've already made a sacrifice to get this information. And I look at Erlan more like as if like that was the sacrifice we've already made for this.
She sort of like takes a moment to like digest what you've just said and like understand it properly, and she says, very well. In that case, Risu, previously you had asked for an alliance between our peoples, between the Dragons of Dragon's Rest and your own virtuosos. It is my belief that you had meant for a genuinely equal friendship more than a formal alliance. What I will offer to you all now is that should you choose to side with us in Dragon's Rest, lend your aid in an assault against the Fang of Immolation and again in his home that you have discovered, then I shall bring the might of Dragon's Rest to liberate Farward, and you shall have your alliance.
That's a pretty good deal.
The strength. I was going to say the strength of an alliance such as that would be very powerful. If we can strike early, then we might be able to also make our way back to, Farward? Farward, that's it, Farward. To help with the defense. If we can.
The Queen like raises one hand and says, I will dispel that illusion immediately. I told you that through Dragon Sight, I have seen Zernat's agents waiting for you to move. I suspect they're already prepared to cross the Absent Range and assault Farward at a moment's notice. And all they're waiting for is to see whether you go to Farward or to see whether you go to face the Fang of Immolation. And they intend to strike wherever you are not present.
Joke's on him, we're going to go to both.
Fuck that.
I didn't catch what you just said, Rob.
I said joke's on him, we're going to go to both.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Split the party, Smile. Can't possibly go badly.
We could already pre-warn the king and queen.
Mm-hmm.
Say that there will be an attack imminently, and what they could probably try and do is some kind of interesting thing where we appear in Farward.
Spectral.
Yes, but we're not. We're actually helping them. If this goes directly to them, I'm sure they can come up with a means to do so without it slipping through the cracks anywhere.
Do we know how they will find out if we're in a certain place?
They've got agents. They'll probably spot if we just are there. Say we come like a major illusion or something like that. Could realistically.
The Queen appears to be sort of deep in for, and will say, "It is my belief that the elves of the Eastern Sky have access to significant magics. It wouldn't be difficult for them to, say, disguise someone as you, or to create illusory duplicates that may even have some limited physical form.
Just
the
enough
thing
to
that I worry
them that we are
about
there.
Is that this Zernat is a being of knowledge and understanding. I suspect your illusions may fool them for a time, but I don't expect that time to be incredibly long.
Could we, still splitting the party, but strategically, the people who can teleport between locations?
I'm not going to lie, Rob. It's one or the other. This is
Okay.
definitely a one or the other thing. We would lose on both counts
Yeah.
if we split the
I was
party.
gonna say, if they see that one of us is in, say, place A, well, I think Hayakin is able to do the teleporting business.
Yeah, Hayakin has teleport.
So if he showed up there, maybe
And
they'd
then come
think
back
that
to
we're
you.
all in that place, but in fact we're in place
Mhm.
B.
I could go there and cast one of my illusion spells to make it seem like there's more of us.
Ah.
Maybe.
Again, that's kind of what I'm already implying anyway. It's just
With the
you're
king and
there.
queen doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the difference is that Hayakin would actually be there.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
you'd be
so if we have
sacrificing
something
for
to
that is a
protect.
7th level spell slot
Exactly.
for teleport. The Queen
To
will
a
say-
place she doesn't properly know, so you could end up in the completely wrong place as well with your teleport. That's the other big thing.
I mean, so there's a teleportation circle in Farward. If this is the strategy you guys want to go for, the Queen can set up a temporary teleportation circle wherever. The Queen of Dragon's Rest can set up a temporary teleportation circle wherever you want, so there's no risk of you just like ending up 100 miles out in the wilderness on your own.
Well,
Like that's within her abilities. If it's like something that you're going to do in order to benefit her, she's willing to assist you in that way. She will say that the expected benefit of you showing up in Farward would be that most likely the Fang of Immolation would begin his attack, having received the all clear from Zernas. So the Fang of Immolation would send his forces to Dragon's Rest and leave his house empty, so to speak, for you to possibly slip in.
would he not also attack? Is he not going to be part of the main force?
The Queen says it's entirely possible that he will. Maybe if you were to show up in Farward, he would come immediately to Dragon's Rest and face me on his own terms. And maybe he would send some of his warriors first to try and weaken us, or Dragon Sight is very limited by nature, and it's even more limited against another creature with more powerful Dragon Sight than my own. This isn't something where I can predict exactly what his movements are going to be.
So the two places that he is looking out for is Farward and what, Dragon's Rest or somewhere?
So I'll put you on the map quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So the humans and Dragonborn are planning an invasion in Farward. The Fang of Immolation is currently hiding out in Ildragfil, the former Mind Flayer colony, and he's planning to attack Dragon's Rest.
Where's the Ildragfil?
Ildragfil is the question mark here.
Yes.
Oh, okay, right.
So essentially, if we show up in Farward to defend Farward, the Fang will attack Dragon's Rest.
Right.
Once he gets the information.
Whether he will immediately set out himself or whether he will send forces ahead and then, enter the battle when it's in his favor, you're not 100% sure. He seems to be very confident from the sort of brief interactions you've had with him and his kind. I will say that you saw the visions of him taking Ildragfil where he was on the front lines himself, but you don't exactly know how far into the battle those visions were.
And then obviously there's an ass agents waiting. Where did you say they were waiting for us to show up?
Zernas's forces.
Yes, Farward and...
They are currently on the opposite side of the Absent Range. The implication there was that somehow they can cross the Absent Range and be at Farward within the day, though.
Yeah.
That's the implication.
And if you fight the Fang of Immolation, it's very likely you aren't going to be able to fight Farward, even if the times work out. Mostly because you're going to be wiped out from fighting like a super mega ancient dragon.
We still have to pick up the cannon as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that will not be ready for another couple of days.
Yeah.
I think for like convenience's sake, your keep and the sonic oscillator will both be ready in 4 days.
Okay.
Just wait it out, guys. It'll be fine.
So yeah, but we got to obviously. But we got to make the choice. Essentially, is we know we show up in Farward, there'll be the Fang and his forces will attack Dragon's Rest. If we go and assault Yggdrasil, or however it's pronounced, I can't pronounce it.
Ildragfil,
thank you. I'm guessing ILDRAG.
THIL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we attack there, then Zanas's forces within 24 hours is going to attack Farward.
Erlan, any thoughts?
Not particularly.
Okay. Head empty.
He's just woken up from a nap.
Still reeling from Rocky Chan.
Yeah. That thing, I'm just still trying to get it to shut up in my pocket.
It's been singing. It's so happy to be alive.
Is it singing like the that fish on the board? I don't know what it's called, but
No, it's like horribly like out of tune. It sounds like Toad.
Oh man.
It's like singing "I am what I am."
It's constantly fucking smacking it, but I guess it doesn't have pain receptors, so it wouldn't care.
It's a rock. It's a really happy rock.
Yeah.
what's the density of Rocky Chan? Yeah, find a rock that's harder than more dense than Rocky Chan and bash it against
Well, the thing is, it's a magic item now, so it's supernaturally difficult to destroy.
Damn.
It's, you could destroy it if you really tried.
Do what they did in Lord of the Rings, Matt. Send it into a volcano.
That would do it.
Yeah, but then I'll lose Lucky again. I've got to keep this thing with me now.
Sadly. So yeah, so what do you guys reckon we should do? Do you want to get someone in?
I think we definitely essentially make the king and queen aware of the attack, because I think this is a more powerful alliance. Essentially, is to have the dragons with us, just by the sheer fact that it's a bunch of fucking dragons.
I mean, the thing, you've kind of already put in all the work here.
Yeah, exactly.
With the dragons, which is why they're willing to do this, and it seems like the queen, having seen you guys fighting on her side through this dragon sight, has been very much sort of swayed to the opinion that you would make valuable allies. She's seen that without your help, she's doomed. So she's willing to make concessions on your behalf that she wouldn't ordinarily make.
And obviously, the whole purpose of the fact here is the dragons at Dragon's Rest are more a neutral entity. They're not, they don't really. What they do, they're not like the Fang would be instantly taking go out with all his dragons and start trying to wipe out humanity.
Make a history check for me. I'll allow anyone to make.
Sure.
I'll get some context for this.
No idea. I got an 8. I got an 8.
Yeah.
History check, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
9.
Come on, we need to good hit.
Let me help! Let me help! Does Rocky have stats?
No, he can give you lucky.
But he gives him lucky, doesn't he? Oh, there we go.
Okay, there we go. The smart guy gets it. That tracks. And 20 from the specialist. There we go. So, what I was going to say is, the idea of Dragon's Rest and this sort of thought of an enormous amount of ancient dragons all cohabiting and working together is from your perspective as like people who come from other worlds and those other worlds have their own dragons, it's like apocalyptic. Like a single ancient dragon is a devastating threat on its own. And Dragon's Rest has hundreds of them. If they were to ever decide to turn on like the world at large, or if they were to be led by the Fang of Immolation, who is actively antagonistic to the world, it would be an actually apocalyptic threat. Dragons simply, by nature, are not normally meant to be able to work together in this way. Sometimes metallic dragons will, be friends with one another, but nothing on this scale. None of you have ever heard of anything like that before.
For the greater good.
So, Dragon's Rest is, as it is currently, super anomalous. This idea that a bunch of ancient dragons have all gathered together in one place and are peacefully coexisting and are generally just not a threat to the world is very strange from your perspectives.
Yeah. It might be very strange, but it's a good kind of strange. Whereas the Fang
it's
would
positive
be,
strange.
Yeah, it's a positive strange. Unlike the Fang, where that would be
apocalyptic.
Yeah, it'd just be like the worst thing ever. It's like it doesn't matter. Like in terms of like Farworld gets destroyed, and that's a lot of lives lost. If Dragon's Rest gets destroyed, that's the entire world lost because of the immense power that comes from the Fang alone.
Yeah, I did think that.
One thing to be aware of as well, this is like a foreign invasion and like annexation of Farworld. It's not it being like razed to the ground, it's an invading army moving in.
But obviously there'd still be a lot
There
of
will
life.
be a lot of loss of life, civilians caught in the crossfire, because not everyone can be evacuated in short notice, and there's only so many refugees that can be accepted. And then also there will be, defenders losing their lives. So, like, there will be a heavy cost to Farward falling. It won't be apocalyptic.
It'll also be fine because O'Malley's there.
Yeah, sure. O'Malley's not the only one who's there.
Oh yeah, there's also going to be Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Them two alone could beat them. It'll be fine.
They're both pretty tough.
Super strong boys. Yeah, but anyway, I think realistically we should obviously try and do the assault or defense of Dragon's Rest / Yggdrasil, whichever one however we want to do that. Obviously not straight away because we kind of want that oscillator.
Yeah. In terms of strategy, it seems like you're waiting on weapons to come online that will come within the next few days. No one, as far as I'm aware, even I wasn't aware that you know of where the Fang of Immolation is currently keeping its base. So they will not be expecting an attack upon them. If you were to trigger them to attack Dragon's Rest, it may be the case that you would find Ildragville empty if you were to go there, in which case it would be better to mount a defense here. Or it may be that you will find Ildragville less defended when you go to attack. It may be worth, in fact, trying to investigate perhaps something for myself and my dragons to do, to try and get an idea of what the Fang of Immolation's next moves might be over the next few days.
Yeah. Try and do some espionage on them to find out what they're doing and what their plans are. And
she nods this. Unfortunately, the fact that you even knew where we could find him and mount this surprise attack is news to me. I haven't had any time to prepare any answers for you.
No.
If we're already waiting a few days, I may be able to give you some confidence in your strategy.
So I I feel the strategy is either to, when we mount our assault on McJugville, will also cause a chain reaction of a illusionary spell to make us appear as if we're at far ward,
Mm-hmm.
to try and to cause a bit of a confusion in communications.
Mm-hmm.
By looking like we're in two places at once, it's going to obviously cause them to question which is the real one. Where are they actually?
How long do you reckon it will take for them to realise that we're not?
It
in
wouldn't be
places?
long. It wouldn't be long, but it could be long enough that it could make a difference.
And like, how quickly, if they realise that they're in the place with the illusions, would they be able to just travel to the other place?
The Queen will probably speak up, because I'm assuming like this question is in character.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Queen will speak up. Obviously, dragons, once they reach a certain age, innately have true sight and the ability to see through illusions. However, mortals such as you, it's a quite high-level magical ability for you to master. While we know it is something that is within Xernas's power to grant to his minions, I only imagine he would grant true sight to those of significantly high rank, perhaps his lieutenants. If you were able to keep your illusions away from the front lines, it may be that you had hours before they noticed anything.
If we had a bit of insight on who their lieutenants were and were able to distract them somehow, we may be able to deter the rest of the army from actually knowing that the illusions are the illusions.
It sure would be great if you had access to some sort of covert operation that would allow you to gather intelligence.
Rob,
What?
Art has
Oh,
been invited.
I've been invited to
somewhere.
a little champagne party.
You have.
That I should go visit.
You can go and do that. Again, as Yoya has stated multiple times, no thank you. I will not attend.
You're welcome to come across. You know, the bubbles go great on your tongue.
No, you can go, and anyone else can go with you. I will wait for the answers.
Yolia trusts you to do, make smart decisions in her absence.
Exactly.
That's very brave.
Don't be stupid. Not in front of these guys.
So where are the Match Sellers Guild? I forget which.
They are the Thieves Guild in Phalanx.
Phalanx, okay.
They have quite the network. I am aware of that one.
Smiley face.
Hmm.
I imagine that only like some of that was in character, just sort of like, Yolia speaking up and being like, oh, you have, that thing, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Kicks leg. Ow.
Yeah.
No,
It's
like the Queen isn't going to be like 100% aware of what you guys are talking about unless you choose to let her in on.
Yeah. It's like we have means to find information out. Art. The rogue.
So I explained that I know some people that may be able to help us with gathering information. They're based in Phalanx. I should go see them at the earliest convenience. If we suspect that a attack on one of the places, Dragon's Rest, Firewall, etc., is imminent, well, is it worth alerting the other cities as well? Just in case.
I mean, the cities are already aware that there's going to be an attack on Farward. There's already, defenses being prepared there.
But what about like the other close places like Duskwatch, Saraha, Charge Grove?
They are currently lending soldiers to the defense of Farward. It's sort of like a mutual, defense.
Yeah, NATO got it.
Yeah, sure, NATO. That's probably not super inaccurate of a way of describing the relationship between the dwarven fortresses and the citadels and their city states is maybe more similar to the UN.
Oh, UN Security Council.
Yeah. I imagine marginally more effective. But yeah, like the other cities are all aware that like Farward is the most likely place to be attacked. You can confirm those suspicions, but it's not really new information for them. The new information, I guess, that you have is, you know, an exact date on it, which is whatever date you choose. Within reason. They're not going to wait forever, but they are currently waiting for you to act so that they can react.
So yeah.
What, the Matchmakers Guild or?
No, Zernas is currently waiting for you to act.
Oh, right. Yeah. So who is going to join Ott in Phalanx? Oh yeah, I don't know if you'd like to come to Ott, that'd be cool too.
No.
Remind me, why is Yolya against him?
Yolya was very briefly separated from the party. It seems as though she had some sort of dealings with this Match Sellers Guild that have left a very sour taste in her mouth.
Right.
She seems very wary of them.
But she hasn't explained why, has she?
No.
No. I'm going to squeeze the information from them. Okay.
She just sort of cautioned you not to fuck around.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I think Ott kind of has like his own perspective on this, where like Ott has been involved with like criminal underworlds in his own world. He knows the sorts of dealings that happen. And while I don't think he knows much about the Match Sellers Guild specifically, he probably has an idea of like some of the like things that organized crime and large thieves guilds can get up to.
Yeah, so anyone else coming along for the ride?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to stick with the main quest.
This will help the main quest. If Art is able to get them on our
True,
side,
actually. Yeah,
if
very
Art
good
is able
point.
to
Yeah,
get
I'll
them
go.
to help us, we can gather information over the next couple of days that can help us in what we're attempting to do, which is a very intricate plan, essentially, of confusing the enemy enough where we're given enough time to, you know, act appropriately for both, to protect both places at once without us being in both places at once.
Yeah, Matt, it's not a random special Rob side quest. It's
Yeah, actually,
mean,
if we're trying to
It
collect information,
is obviously both, but it can help the main quest.
You think we should all go there just in case anything kicks off?
Yeah, come on, Yolya. All of us. You heard Yarkin.
Not specifically to the place, but just Phalanx.
Yeah, come along for the ride.
You know,
That'll be
in the
champagne.
vicinity.
I'll wait in Phalanx for you.
That's as close as he's going to get. She's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Champagne, I guess, doesn't exist. What's the equivalent of champagne in there?
Champagne exists.
Champagne exists. Is there a place called Champagne?
It's, you know, it's
Yeah,
actually named after
P-A-I-N.
the inventor of the drink. There's like a whole separate etymology in this world.
What was his name? Victor Champagne?
Harold Champagne.
So it wasn't his brother that made it. No, okay.
He was a gnomish inventor
Uh,
who lived in Riposte. Champagne is one of their biggest exports.
so I guess we probably want to. I would say probably either get something, like take something from here that's of like significance, so like we can just automatically teleport straight back to Dragon's Rest, or get the Queen to set up a temporary teleportation circle that we can just teleport to, because they'll both work in the same way.
Can we do both, just in case the person isn't available?
The Queen will say she's probably less comfortable setting up a teleportation circle, specifically because other people could use that if they ever learned about it. It's
Right.
something that she's willing to do if she needs to, but she would be familiar with the teleportation spell, and she would say, I believe a piece from a dragon's hoard, on loan only, would be able to suffice as a way to guide you back here.
So grab anything from this pile over here, yeah?
The implication being that she will find something suitable to lend you for the purposes of you being able to teleport back.
I'll look after it.
You're probably the most trustworthy one in her eyes.
Woohoo.
What is this song? What's with all the talking here?
Oh no,
It's something from
it's very
Gladiator.
epic.
It's quite epic.
I might see if I can change the.
And then you had Return of
playlist.
the Mic last time.
Return of Mac. Good song.
Not again. Not again.
Sorry, Logan. It came out at the wrong time. I thought you'd be done with your speech before it came on.
It would have been funny, but let's go with mood pleasant. Let's see how that works out. And then smash slash clear and then slash play.
Oh, this is
There we go. We'll try that. So, the current plan then is, I guess, Ott and the rest of the party, sans Yolya, are going to make their way to the Match Sellers Guild.
Well, I think we're all going to Phalanx, but I
Yeah.
won't be meeting
Yolya's going to be
with-
like waiting outside in case shit hits the fan.
Yeah, essentially. I'll just like as they go through through the door of the where their hideout is, I'll literally just be out on the street waiting.
So you are coming pretty close by then.
Yeah.
Close enough that, like, within, a reasonable time within combat, you could, like, get into the place. So you'd have to be, like, outside the door, I guess.
Is
Yeah.
it not worth going undercover, as in like disguised, like I don't know, I could wear
Mustaches
my...
and glasses, yeah?
Yeah, I mean I've got the mask I could wear.
Mm-hmm. The Mask of Robin.
Otter's
Mask of Robin.
got a set of... where'd he go?
Well, you're
And the
changing-
ability to shapeshift
No, yeah. other
with a
than the
long
ability
rest.
he doesn't have the ability to shapeshift, but he has gnome clothes that he can wear into some random place.
I think, I'm pretty sure that at some point you said you were going to get, a set of clothes for each different race that you can turn into.
Yeah,
get
I just
spandex.
happen to have gnome clothes in my
Yeah.
inventory. I also have human, peasant, Githyanki. Yeah, those four.
I think, like, we've had enough downtime where, like, we can say fairly comfortably that, like, you just have, various sets of clothes because you're no longer in control of what you will turn into.
So
Of
Ott
course,
has
I
to be
believe it
prepared
takes a
for
long
any
rest
occasion.
for you to transform now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's overnight.
The Queen will say, before you depart, there was one other thing. I believe I promised that I would tell you a little bit about this chamber and why I brought you down here.
That's right.
She says, okay, I'm going to cast a spell on you all now. It's called Comprehend Languages, and it will allow you to read the poem that is inscribed on the base of this tree branch.
Is it in Draconic?
It is, yeah.
Risu can read Draconic.
In that case, you don't need the...
Is this a permanent thing or temporary?
No, it's only temporary. Fuck is this spell? This song.
It's good.
This is mood pleasant,
This is
by the
battle
way.
music.
It's very battle music for a pleasant mood. Either way. So yeah, I guess you don't need the spell cast on you. For the
Yeah.
rest of you, she sort of like raises one hand in the air and like spectral light cascades down on all of you, and your eyes begin to glow. You can spend 1 minute to read anything written in any language. I believe it's like 1 minute per page, but this is only one page. And any language you hear, you can understand. The Queen will begin to speak in Draconic and say, there is a poem that is instinctively known to dragons. When we first gain our dragon sight and our perception beyond this world, we gain a scrap of this poem. And I have spent a very long time gathering more scraps of this poem from other dragons across the ages who have each learned sections of this poem. I would like to preface this by saying that while it is a historical record, I can't really attest to its accuracy. I've never been able to verify anything written in it. And she will direct your eyes to the tree trunk, where inscribed are the words "Elegy for the First World." Show it to the play. Show it to everyone, and you should be able to see it. I'm not going to read it all out to you because it's a little bit long. It appears as though there are several sections missing from the poem. What you would... What the fuck is this?
What is this?
Jesus Christ!
You're not watching a Breath of the Wild review again, are you?
Not again.
Get me banned. Promise it wasn't me this time.
Okay. Yeah, what those of you who saw the visions from the Mind Flayers would recognize is that one of the verses in this poem, is specifically the last verse that is written, is the same verse that the Fang of Immolation was reciting when he attacked Ildragfil. I'll give you some time to read.
I was told about this poem.
Mm-hmm. In particular, Erlan, I think you would also remember from your conversation with Bahamut that he said part of the reason why he felt some measure of sympathy towards the Fang of Immolation is that from Bahamut's perspective, he remembers more of what they had lost than others do. And you suspect that he meant he remembers more of the First World.
I guess I pass that information on to the others.
What is this Sardior?
The Queen will speak up and say, that is unfortunately something that I'm not 100% sure of. I believe Sardior is the name of an ancient dragon, one who most likely lived on the First World. The poem seems to imply that they had significant power and knowledge, second perhaps only to Bahamut and Tiamat, though their exact fate is unclear.
It mentions that Sardior hid in the heart of creation.
The Queen looks and says, I would caution against taking this poem as exact historical record. Again, it's a poem, and I don't know of any heart of creation or of any first world. I know that there are many worlds. And I know that before the gods came to this world, the dragons were here. But I certainly wouldn't imagine that this world predates any others. And I'm aware through Dragon Sight that there are dragons on many worlds. If this Sardior indeed ever existed at all, I have no idea what a heart of creation even would be.
Hmm.
Sealed in dark despair, captive to God's laying claim to creation. There's obviously no records of Tiamat ever being entombed anywhere, is there?
The Queen will say, actually, there is. This is fairly verifiable. Tiamat is imprisoned on the first layer of the Nine Hells. The exact details of her imprisonment are very speculative. The Lord of the Nine Hells is also known as the Lord of Lies, and it's very widely believed that Tiamat holds quite a lot of power within the Hells, claiming to be the master of the first layer rather than the prisoner. But it seems like she cannot leave.
Okay.
If I was to guess at Tiamat being entombed and imprisoned, it would be through some ancient compact with the Lord of the Nine Hells.
I mean, it also states that the first world was created by Bahamut and Tiamat in together.
I don't think the Queen, really says much. She just sort of, grimly nods her head at that.
There'll only ever be two beings that would know the truth behind only a few beings that would know the truth behind this, and that is the gods and the dragons and the platinum and chromatic dragons themselves.
The Queen will say, as people who have looked into the details of the calamity before, I'm sure you're well aware that the gods tend to hold their secrets very dearly.
Mm. There's some concerning knowledge in here if there's any of it that's truth.
The Queen will sort of, again, grimly nod and say, I felt it was fair that you know. This is once the information that I'd shared with Aegis, although the poem was less complete in those times. It's my belief that this poem is the motivation behind the Fang of Immolation's hatred.
How did Aegis take this information? What did they think of it?
She takes a moment to answer, like form what is a palatable answer, and she says, I said I did not find him to be particularly impressive. Aegis is a very small and self-involved man. The answer is he was completely unconcerned.
Do you believe the poem to be truth?
I have tried for a very long time to gather the missing parts of this poem. I have sent dragons to recover all historical records, all knowledge of the gods and their ancient forgotten lore that can be found, and I have found nothing that confirms anything that this poem says. Some things are small pieces of common knowledge. Tiamat is imprisoned in hell. Bahamut and Tiamat are intimately connected. They are both the gods of dragons. Dragons predate all of the other races on this world, so far as we know. But there is nothing to imply that there was ever a first world, especially not one that was sundered and stolen from us.
Could the first world be what this world looked like pre-calamity?
The Queen will say, I told you that my father also had dragon sight. My father existed a long time before this calamity, and I found reasons to suspect that he was also aware of this poem. I think that this poem stretches back much, much further in time than a mere few thousand years.
Okay.
He says, I was hesitant to give you this information. I've only given it to you because I feel it's only fair that you have it. Specifically because it is a very dear secret to those dragons who are aware of it. And because I'm not 100% sure that it's even useful information to you. Maybe it will be relevant, and maybe it's just some small piece of information that will give context to your own mighty deeds. Unfortunately, my ability to see the future is very limited.
Well, thank you for sharing it with us anyway.
She nods her head and says, now, I believe I promised you a piece to borrow from my hoard, and begins to walk up the carved stone steps towards her hoard.
Obviously follow along, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Again, the journey is like several minutes in like darkness. The comprehend language spell fades from you all, and I imagine it's probably pretty tiring climbing up like many flights of stairs. But eventually you do emerge once again into the central chamber where the queen keeps her hoard, and she is holding what is an enormous ruby in her hand. And when Risu reaches the top of the stairs, she walks over to Risu and offers her the ruby, like very hesitantly, and says, remember, this is only to borrow.
I wasn't planning on keeping it.
That's why I'm giving it to you.
She's gonna sell it.
Keep...
She
No.
hands you the ruby.
How big is it compared to me?
It's like the size of your head. It's like comically large. This thing is probably worth 100,000 gold.
Oh, okay. I'll hold
Wait,
it in my...
if she gives it to Taito, sorry, not Taito, to Rizu. Will it squish Rizu?
I mean,
Bigger than a
like
heavy,
Risu,
made of
you know, it's
heavy
not
rock.
like massively heavy. It's a gem,
Oh.
but it's
It's
just
just
like
big.
this comically large, like gemstone.
It's like Apu in Aladdin when he picks
Yeah.
up the.
Like, his eyes turn into rubies.
Oh, that's odd size.
Yeah. I mean, if you take something, the entire place is going to cave in, and like a sand lion is going to eat you all, just like in Aladdin.
Is there a weighted pressure plate with a
Yeah.
golden? What was it on?
Yeah, we just don't see the queen running away from the boulder.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was going.
The queen will say, "I believe your ability to teleport is limited, and since time is of the essence, I will have one of my own dragons teleport you to wherever it is you wish to go." And with that, now that she's in like this, much larger chamber with all of her treasure, she will transform back into her like enormous draconic form and send out a telepathic message to one of her dragons. Probably like within a minute or so, you would see a dragon that you recognize. In fact, one that Rob mentioned earlier, Salafar,
Yeah.
taking the form of a pristine golden dragonborn. He steps forward and bows deeply and says, "You called for me, my queen." And the queen will direct him to teleport you wherever you would like to go.
To Phalanx, isn't it?
Phalanx. You will have to, I suppose, tell him the coordinates to the magic circle in Phalanx. It's not knowledge that
Oh yeah, if we're going to the magic circle, make sure we tell them again.
Oh, I thought. Oh no, told them something else. Yeah, I suppose we can. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it costs me a 3rd level spell slot every time, but sure. And I only have 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone in particular you would like to contact? Like, I imagine you probably do have like an official contact in Phalanx for like, this is the person you're meant to tell when you are going to arrive.
Yeah. I mean, I only have 1 3rd level spell slot left, so I guess I'm using it for.
Are you going to use it, or you can just go?
Should we just turn up? It's always a
You've
fun
done it
surprise.
before.
We
Yeah.
do it all the time. That's the problem.
Funny. That's right. We don't need to tell anyone. We'll just turn up. They'll know we're coming.
Salafar shrugs.
Okay.
And
Makes no odds on him.
Yeah. You tell him the coordinates to the teleport, and he says, "Okay, whenever you're ready, I can send you."
Is it like a 3 words?
It essentially, it's like, a sequence of runes that you are aware of that corresponds to this teleportation circle. But yeah, it's a 3 words, sure. The words are apple, dinosaur, and letter.
It says, apple, letter, dinosaur.
You
wait,
end
no.
up in the middle of the ocean. It's like the draconic rune for apple and the draconic rune for dinosaur.
Ugh.
But yeah, you all are sent. I imagine like the look of this probably isn't like the same as when Hyakin cast teleport. I like the idea that like you all like shatter into like a million pieces of gold and then reform out of gold on the other side.
That was weird.
Dragons, man. I will put you on the map for Phalanx. So, you would currently, I believe, be, within the Celestial Archive would be where the teleportation circle is. Again, a bunch of dwarves pointing like spears and swords and crossbows
again.
at you.
Yeah. On guard.
Like, a crossbow bolt like flies in your direction and Yolia catches it.
At that point, while it's in my hand, I snap the bolt and say, "This is why we should tell them."
No.
And then
Did someone
Like-
just ping O'Malley's mum's house?
Yeah.
that's where we're going to have our meeting.
Around a nice Scottish dinner.
O'Malley would fucking kill you all for that.
100%. If you went to his house where his mum lives and he found out, which he would find out from all of the bloody housewives that are like in the
Yeah, like the gossiping homeowners association.
in the riggers, they would quite literally. He would find out and he would just turn up swinging his maul at anyone he saw.
I imagine he'd leave Far Ward for that. Like,
He would 100% drop what he's doing and end up back at Phalanx.
Mhm.
Probably like screaming something about not touching his mom.
Mhm. So, you are, of course, recognized in the city. You are all basically public figures at this point, especially after you dealt with Ormadora.
He's
Do we not need to worry
And
about
like there was a
disguises?
whole festival in your name, so
don't need to worry about what. Sorry.
Disguises?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, surely if we're drawing attention to ourselves being here, we might be showing that Far Ward is safe to be attacked.
They know that we could probably just reappear at Far Ward within seconds if we wanted to, due to the teleportation circle.
But
If we end,
if that's the risk for them, then why would they attack either of the places if they know that we can be?
because one of them we wouldn't be able to get to quickly enough. Because while we don't know the circle for Far Ward,
okay.
there are people here who do,
Ah.
and they would just throw us into the circle and whisk us away. But
as a
if we're
point of clarification from the DM as well, part of like the idea behind this is very much like when you are committed to one thing to a point where you can't pull out, like when you are mid-fight with dragons having invaded Ildrafil or are defending Dragon's Rest, you aren't likely to just be like, okay, we're going to Far Ward now, mid-fight. So
Yeah.
that's when they will attack. Or
Okay.
when you are in Far Ward and are committed to the defense of Far Ward, it's going to be, that's when Dragon's Rest would be attacked.
Does Logan know where it's going to be attacked, or is it? I love it.
Of course he doesn't, because we haven't decided yet.
The answer is both are going to be attacked. But you guys are going to be at one.
Exactly.
I was wondering if I'd squeeze out from Logan where he planned to be attacked by the main.
Jeez. Yeah, and he told you both.
Yep.
There's your answer, dummy.
Never mind.
Yeah, it feels important for me to clarify that for your sake. Because that's more just me not communicating particularly effectively.
Okay.
Okay, so are you going to where you need to go? Have they told you where you need to go?
I mean, we're kind of hand waving a little bit because of the circumstances last session, like cutting things short. I would say that we can say that you've arranged a meeting at the pub where Mimics are banned.
Yeah.
So okay, so Ott would be aware of where he needs to go.
Yeah.
That's fine, because it would be literally Yolia would take them where she knows they are, and as soon as she arrives, would just stand outside the front door to the pub, like leaning against the wall, and then would be like, look at Ott, like, get on with your business then.
Who was the dragon that teleported us? Salthar.
Salafar.
Salafar, yeah.
who is the gold dragon that was kind of an asshole to you when you first arrived. That you said you were going to have kidnapped.
So anyway, shall you make your way there?
Yeah. Good music. Pub where music's a band.
So again, to like describe this to you, in every city there is, areas where, gentrification hasn't taken hold and people of lower income congregate because of lower property values. That's very much what the Riggers is. It's not a slum, but it is an area which has like a lower economic class. Within the center of it is a surprisingly large pub called the Pub Where Mimics Are Banned. You've been here before. It's not quite a dive bar, although it is definitely not a super reputable place. This is where you first met O'Malley. And, it's in decent repair. It's could probably do with some refurbishment. It's, old tables and creaky bar stools. There's odd stains on the bar itself. And some of the casks look like they haven't been changed in years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. However, there is a lot of just like actual ordinary clientele there. Like there are just people who come here after work and like get dinner. It's not a family place by any means, but you wouldn't bring kids here, but you would, bring adults. It's not a place where you're likely to get shivved. And I imagine Yolya is standing outside.
Yeah, as soon as we get to where the front main door is, I'll just like peel off from the group and just stand, lean against the wall next to the door.
Okay, so like you are in the entryway to the place.
Essentially.
Okay, that's fine.
What did I miss? Sorry.
Well, we've arrived at the pub, and
Yeah.
Logan was just explaining how it looked like.
So you're very clearly outside the front, like people would recognize you, or
I don't think Yolya is being like super subtle. She's just sort of like leaning up against the door, sort of like semi-blocking it.
Okay.
No, I'm not leaning against the door. I'm like, where the doorway is.
Yeah, you're like
the
leaning
wall...
in the entryway.
No, like outside on the wall by the entryway. So like the door is completely open for people to walk in and out. I just like a bouncer would, essentially. In that sense.
Yeah. So if someone was to leave, you would be able to get in their way and block it.
It's enough where her keener hearing, if she heard a commotion that was definitely the sounds of her friends, she would instantly bolt inside.
Okay.
And it's more of a deterrent of the fact that here's this really strong monk who will not give shits on anyone who tries anything funny.
Mm-hmm.
If you're there to try and start anything stupid, turn away and just go somewhere else. Essentially, like a proper bouncer would. It's just like anyone who's coming in, if they're just normal people, she won't pay them in mind. Anyone looks a bit dodgy, she'll probably scowl at them.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially try and just intimidate them to not come, not be there.
Mm-hmm. The rest of you, are you making any attempt to disguise yourselves, or are you just coming in as yourselves?
Gnome clothes, that's all.
I didn't really have any disguise or anything I could use, so I'll just go in as I am.
Okay.
How tall are you? What are your measurements?
I'm very tall. I'm like 6'5" or something.
Here, try on these human clothes.
It's like on you, it's like a crop top if you're 6'5".
Yeah.
It's like wearing like a 5-year-old shirt.
In fact, peasants are usually pretty malnourished, so they're going to be quite short. Here, have these peasant clothes.
The trousers are like up to my kneecaps.
Like shorts on you.
Like shorts on me, yeah. I think I'm fine as I am. I mean, I won't say.
You don't have that special blue aura about your blueness, do you?
I do. See, I wasn't going to bring it up, but now you say that.
I am still cursed, yeah.
You're actually
I'm
still cursed.
I actually am, yeah.
Lan, are you doing anything?
Not particularly, yeah. No, it's the first time I can have a drink for the first time being alive again.
Yep.
So, scurrying straight to
You
the
can
bar.
feel like you're minutes away from the hangovers catching
Yeah,
up to you.
yeah.
Like, time is very short right now before you're actually killed again by, like, the
The cumulative hangover.
the cumulative hangover.
Yeah, so I'll just go get drinks.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try and see if I can get them for free as well.
Meat on all.
I'm up to the bar. I look at
The tiefling bartender would recognize you all from the last time you were here meeting with O'Malley and says, "Oh, the famous virtuosos have returned to us again. Don't suppose you're going to pick a fight with one of my patrons again, are you?"
You got very good
I was-
memory, don't you? Yeah. Can't believe you just picking out all these little nitty gritty facts about our previous visits.
The tiefling looks at you and goes, "I know literally 2 things about you. And one of them is that you picked a fight with O'Malley."
Great
He
memory.
looks down at the at the glass that he's pretending to clean and says, "I've been instructed by my manager that upon your arrival you're all to be treated as honoured guests and that your drinks are at his expense."
Hooray! Drinks on everyone. so drinks are on me, everyone. As
There's several cheers from patrons, and the tiefling, he's this enormous muscle-bound demon guy, casts them all a look, and they all go back to their drinks.
As offers out the free drinks that he's just been offered.
Mm-hmm. The tiefling flashes Risu a smile and says, "Another something ale then?"
Yes.
He seems genuinely shocked. To my memory, you actually drank the something ale and stomached it last time, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
he wussied out.
He did. He wrist pocketed it into a flask last time, and
I was unaware of it.
he looks surprised and goes, "Okay, if that's what you want," and he goes over to one of these particularly old-looking casks and pours
I'd
this-
actually thought it'd feel more like he goes over to an open barrel and just dunks in the cup enough so it fills it up and hands it over.
We'll go with that. There's some hair floating in it.
Oh.
Oh.
I imagine at some point we see him take a cup to the lavatory.
It just there's just every now and again there's another member of the staff just comes from the lavatory with a pot and dumps it in there.
I mean, he's not offering to drink any of himself this time, Sarah. You know what you're getting into. He's
It's us.
if you want to try and drink it, it's a Constitution save.
Let's do it.
That one. Damn it!
Oh, damn.
You reach up and I guess the bird equivalent of holding your nose while you just throw this drink back.
There is
And
no holding.
again, you feel this just immediate stomach ache as you drank something that you clearly aren't supposed to, and your stomach just begins to gurgle and twist. But no negative effects.
Here, have another.
The bartender seems genuinely impressed and says, "Something ale for the rest of you, or something more palatable?"
Palatable.
A mead, please.
mead, wine,
maybe
sir,
not.
and he looks over at Erland.
Any.
He just reaches down for like the cheapest bottle of wine he can get because you're not paying for this, and
yeah.
hands it to you. He doesn't even give you a glass.
Yeah, I just start straight from the bowl. Just
It tastes
chug,
like
chug, chug,
paint
chug.
thinner. It's not good.
Ah, glorious.
However, you do feel alive again for the second
Yeah.
time today. And a delicious honeyed mead for Art.
Rub the paint thinner into your eyes.
Hi Arkin. Any particular requests?
I'll have the same as Art.
Another honeyed mead. Okay, it's a sweet, nice mead. Actually, it's palatable. It's not like something incredibly special or expensive, but it's very drinkable.
Is it cloudy?
Probably, yeah.
Chance of meatballs?
Water filtration probably isn't incredible
Yeah.
in these times.
I mean, I can see the
He
sewage
does
outside
look
the streets.
over at Yolya, sort of hovering, but doesn't acknowledge you at all.
Say that again?
The bartender does look over at you, sort of hovering in the doorway, but doesn't acknowledge you at all. Sorry, what were you going to say, Rob?
Is Phalanx the sort of place where, for people to dispose of their toilet?
No, there is
they
like
run over?
functional plumbing in
Okay.
Horizon.
So it's not like
This isn't like medieval setting. It's more Grand Age of Sail sort of setting.
All right.
You know, muskets exist, cannons exist. So, no, people aren't just dumping chamber pots out the window onto the streets.
Oh, yeah, chamber pots, that's it.
When you've all had your drinks, the bartender will slip a matchbox to Ott. And I will say, with the perception check that Risu made earlier, this is very obvious to you.
Ott is going to take the matchbox. He's going to try and conceal that he's taking something. Obviously, the rest of the party kind of knows why, what we're there for, but to kind of stop other prying eyes from.
Yeah, you are acting subtly.
Yeah.
So you
Can
sort
I
of
use sleight of hand actually? To do that?
Absolutely.
Cool.
See how subtle you are.
Because I am proficient in that. 22.
22.
Yeah.
Got a plus
Okay.
10.
So yeah, you palm this matchbox, and for all the world, it appears to disappear. And for you, you're able to take a look inside it, and there appears to be some very faint inscription on the inside that would be very difficult to notice if you weren't already expecting something to be there, which appears to be written in Thieves' Cant.
Okay, so with Thieves' Cant, I believe decreased my ability to understand it. Where was the?
You can read it, but it will take you a couple of minutes of actually trying to read it.
Yeah.
I'd say that with your sleight of hand, you're able to do it subtly.
Oh, it was disadvantage on Thieves' Cant. That was one of the things.
Yeah, it's like disadvantage on checks to use it for persuasion or anything like that.
Ah, okay, sure.
That's how we do it mechanically. The actual in-universe thing is that your abilities with Thieves' Cant have been magically dulled. As a result of your sacrifice to bring back Hierarchin, I believe it was.
That is right. So, what is written in the matchbox?
If you take a couple of minutes to read it, it appears to... it essentially says the equivalent of, "Hi, Ott, smiley face. I'm waiting for you downstairs." And then, it'd be signed Jedri.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
I'll type it for you.
Thank you.
Jedri.
Cool. Smiley face. should write him a.
Not a name that you recognise, I don't think.
Okay. Just making note of Sir Jedry. Sir to me.
Definitely not a sir.
I mean, he will be to me. I'll call him Sir Jedry.
Mm-hmm.
Be like a promotion from no one else. No one authoritative.
He's now part Jedry of the Gentry of High Our Kingdom.
Yeah.
I don't know if Art has the authority to make that decision.
Art's taking it anyway. He's going to do it.
Okay.
It's okay. I'll let him this once.
Okay.
I'll inform Piarkin after.
Let's say I've had so much mead to drink, I'll just go along with it.
So yeah, as far as you are aware, there is someone waiting for you downstairs.
So I'm gonna very subtly, and I suppose, is it worth using stealth or something just to kind of hide the fact?
I mean, stealth isn't necessarily hiding from sight. It could be, you moving in such a way that you don't attract undue attention. We can say that can be done for stealth.
Because I haven't used this yet, I'm going to use, in ages, I'm going to use my mage hand to just make a little distraction. So,
okay.
Let's see. I'm going to knock over a glass on one table. It's the opposite side of the pub to me. And make a weird twang sound sort of nearby to it as well. Just
okay.
Distract.
Sure. We'll say, because your mage hand is invisible, isn't it?
Yeah, I can make it invisible.
In that case, just make a sleight of hand check for me.
Okie dokie. Just to make it fun, really. 11. Oh, that's a nat 1.
Wait, does nat 1 still
I can
affect
reroll.
him?
Reroll. There you go. I can reroll nat 1s. Wait, can I?
But also, because
no, you can't. You're not actually a halfling.
But
however,
I was going to say he's got whatchamacallit, hasn't he?
You have reliable talent, which means
yeah.
you physically cannot roll lower than a 10 on anything that you are proficient in.
Okay, there you go.
So you got a 20.
Technically, you get a 20, yes.
Hell yeah.
High-level rogues, man. So yeah, this invisible hand slowly pushes a glass, edging it just millimeters at a time as it gets closer and closer to the edge until the people at the table who are having an animated conversation, one of them knocks it with his elbow and it smashes across the ground, and all eyes dart over towards the loud noise. At which point, Alt is no longer next to you all. He has used the distraction to slip away, and Alt, you are 1 second, sorry.
What's
Another pen. Sorry. Yeah, you are fairly easily able to find a doorway into the staff-only area and staircase leading down into the what you suspect is going to be the basement where a lot of the drinks are stored, casks to be cycled into use.
Right.
And descending down into this sort of wine cellar basement, I imagine with your abilities with stealth, you can get a good view of the room before you are noticed at all. You would see a pink-haired gnome who is sat on a very small bar stool. And in front of him are bar stools of different sizes. One of them is small halfling size, one of them is human size, one of them is this enormous, very heavily reinforced looking bar stool for what's probably a much larger, more heavy race. However, they all sit empty, and the gnome appears to just be sort of twiddling his thumbs and humming to himself, seemingly quite content.
Pink-haired gnome on a sturdy bar stool.
Mm-hmm.
So what? This is down in the cellar?
Yeah.
Okay. just a random gnome on its own. Okay, yeah, I head on over, making sure no one's following me.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth doing a?
Yeah, you can make a perception check, see if you've been tailed.
6.
No idea.
Could've got that twice.
However, you eventually sort of step out into the open and make your presence known. At which point, like, the gnome makes like a big show of being surprised by your appearance and goes, "Oh, I didn't see you there. Wow, what excellent stealth, sir." And he gestures towards the bar stools and says, "I'm sorry, I had to pick out a selection. I wasn't sure what form you would take when you came to visit me. I didn't know what would be convenient for you." And he motions towards like the halfling-sized one and says, "Would you mind taking a seat?"
Do you have any bar stools with round legs? I only sit on bar stools with round legs.
He says, "Well, I mean, it can be arranged. I can go upstairs and fetch you a different bar stool."
I'll just sit on this crate here.
Okay. Yeah, you just like sit on a crate and goes, like he has to like awkwardly like look over to one like angle because his bar stool is positioned so that he'd be looking at the other one. So he just gets up and he turns the bar stool to be facing you on the crate and goes, "I believe I should make an introduction for myself. My name is Jedry Zigzig, and I am the leader of the Match Sellers Guild. And I'm afraid to say that I do already know who you are. Mr. Ott, I believe, of the Virtuosos. Your reputation precedes you."
That is I. Is Zigzig one word?
It is, yeah. It's his surname.
4 G's,
Zigzig.
is it?
4 G's. Z-I-G, Z-I-G, unfortunately.
Sad. I guess it's your cousins that have the 2 pairs of G's.
Yeah, it's actually they're the Thieves Guild in Bulwark. It's the Shield Sellers Guild. The gnome who, like, you've met gnomes before, but it is probably always a somewhat unusual experience because you spend so much time as a halfling to like meet someone who you have like a solid foot on. Like, you're much taller than...
Isn't Gareth a gnome?
He is, yeah. Like, you've met gnomes before, but like halflings are tiny, gnomes are even smaller.
Is this one the fastest gnome in the West?
Yes. He sort of like flashes you a jovial smile and says, "I have actually invited you here because I was hoping that we could do some business together, Mr. Ott. It is my understanding that before your current employment as a hero, you had employment a little bit more similar to my own, which is to say, perhaps on the less obvious side of the law."
The less well-known, more under wraps side.
Well, you see, Ott, I have... I hope you don't mind if I just call you Ott. It's Mr. Ott is a little bit...
It's okay.
I have been doing some
normally
soul
people call me
searching.
Mr. Ott, Fat Hammock IDK, but you can just call me Ott.
He says, I had actually heard that before. I always wondered if it was a joke, but some of my informants had mentioned that you have given that as a name previously.
It's my legal name, but I tend to go by Ott these days.
I'm not sure you have a legal name. You're not actually legally a resident of anywhere on Horizon. You weren't born here.
Whoa, calm it with the remarks.
I mean, if that's something you want to fix, it's well within my powers, but I've been doing some soul searching recently. In particular, I'm not sure if your friend Yolia has mentioned, I had some dealings with her. I confess I'm a little bit offended that she hasn't wanted to come and say hi since then. I've been nothing but pleasant in my dealings with her. However, I can honestly say I've gotten a bit of a taste for being on the right side of history. And given that my own network has informed me that you were building something for the future in your Higher Kingdom, I believe you've called it, I wanted to offer my services and the services of my Match Sellers Guild to you. You see, it strikes me that we're living in very dire times, and that anyone who didn't do their utmost to support those who are protecting them is only doing themselves a disservice. I'm not going to lie to you and pretend that I plan on closing up my operations here, but I could very easily see myself lending you support in, say, setting up an operation that might be convenient for your own dealings.
Wait, so he's saying he's planning to close down his operations, or
No, he's not going
He's
to.
very specifically saying that he is not going to close down here. However, he is willing to set up an organization under your control in Higher Kingdom.
okay.
And he says, now, I understand you may find some of the work that we as the Match Sellers Guild have done somewhat distasteful. I will admit that some of our dealings have been less than legal and probably less than moral, if I'm honest. I would have no control over this organization you set up, only that I or the lieutenant that I put under your command would report to you.
So what do we? I'm just thinking aloud. So what do we actually want to get from the Match Sellers Guild folks?
Are you asking the others, or?
Yeah. So is it we just want this organization to do dealings? Are we going to use them to get information about the?
We want them for espionage. It's to try and help ascertain information in regards to the Quarters and Ass, like, you know, their agents essentially, and other bits like that, I think, if I remember right of what we were saying.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to explain that we obviously. So how did he get in contact with me again? I've forgotten now.
He sent an urchin to deliver you a matchbox that had this invitation when you were in Bulwark.
Right.
So you said you were going to explain to him.
Yeah, I was going to explain to him that we require. Well, yeah, we currently okay. We require assistance getting espionage on this cult of Zernas in Far Ward. Get information on like who's involved in the.
He sort of flashes you a devious smile and says, out of curiosity, was it Miss Yolia who informed you that I might be able to do that?
That's not important.
This guy's simping a lot.
He,
Miss Yolia.
very respectful to the people who potentially might be his employers very soon. He says, well, If it is information you need, then I am more than happy to furnish you with such information. I previously had my own dealings with your comrade, which were of a somewhat similar nature. Farward is not beyond my reach, although it's certainly not my territory. And if I was to set up an operation on your behalf, then this may be something that your own organization would be capable of doing in future for you.
You could train them up.
Certainly. I want to make it very clear, I'm offering you my support. I'm throwing in my lot with you. This isn't a scheme. I'm not trying to... Well, I am trying to use you to gain power, but I'm not going to betray you for that.
So what is the cost of this business relationship?
He says, for you, only the cost of operation. If you were to set up an establishment, anything of your choosing, it might be a tavern like this one, a blacksmith's, a bookshop, miners, anything that suits your own tastes, that will operate as a front for your own information network. I am willing to lend my expertise and the expertise of my agents in order to help you get set up. And then you would have to put up the upfront cost of creating this front, at least until it is able to support itself financially. And you would have to pay some amount of money to your employees in order to cover any costs that they might incur during their investigations. None of which, I can promise you, will be returning to me. This would, I expect, be after my own involvement has ended.
Okay, Mr. Zigzag. So how quickly can how much of an upfront cost are we expecting, and how quickly can we get men in Farward starting this investigation there?
He says, if you're hoping to front the investigation into the Farward matter yourself, I suspect it wouldn't be in time. I'm very much willing to do that investigation as the Match Sellers Guild on your behalf. The cost of setting up an establishment, however, would not be cheap. It is costly to create your own business, full stop. He says it would take 2 weeks to build, whatever it is, and as a general cost, it could probably be done for 1,000 gold. This would cover the hiring of skilled staff to actually run whatever this business is, as well as construction costs. And, of course, the costs incurred in setting up the less obvious side of the business, shall we say. And he gives you a knowing wink.
Does he mean
Above the table, what I, as the DM, am offering you is a stronghold similar to the Keep or the Wizard's Tower, specifically for art. It can be the center of your own network of informants. And it can also confer other bonuses, such as allowing you to use the abilities of other strongholds from your allies for a cost.
Okay. Would the party be willing to put some money towards temporarily setting up this this organization, like we did? I think we did for Hyrkin's Kingdom.
You would be using it for their own benefit, I imagine, as well.
Yeah.
A network of spies, so it's up to the other players, but I imagine there's an argument that can be made for it.
I suppose while I'm talking to this guy, I can say I can make the funds available, and I'll just hope that the rest of the party can offer some financial support.
You see, like, the smile, like, because he's had this very, like, business-like smile throughout the entire thing, like, this customer service smile. You see the smile actually reach his eyes very briefly, as he seems overjoyed that you've actually taken his offer, and says, "Wonderful, I cannot wait to begin my business." Out of interest, Mr. Ott, Mr. IDK, I'm not 100% sure. I was wondering, do you have any preferences about what you would like your establishment to be?
ID Kingdom.
Okay, but is that like the name of a tavern, or?
Um,
Because ID Kingdom works. I can roll with that. That works well within, marketing.
yeah. Don't really think this far ahead. Try not to call it like King's Landing or something stupid from Game of Thrones.
Burger bar.
It could be an eatery.
An arcade.
I'm going to call it Magnum.
No, he's not asking what the name is. He's asking what the place actually does.
Oh, what the place actually does. Oh,
What is the place?
What is the
Yeah,
place?
what's your front going to be?
Oh, okay. It's going to be.
Like it to be?
It's going to be a certain chicken restaurant.
Okay, it's a fast food restaurant.
It is a fast food restaurant. I'm trying to think of a clever name, but it's going to be Los Apollos Hermanos, effectively.
Uh-huh.
Sake.
Okay. The reference is completely lost on him, but he says, "Okay, a chicken restaurant. Okay, I can work with that. We can workshop a name. We can find some sort of marketing strategy that will work. You don't need to worry about that. I can promise you, your business will be a success. Sorry, what?
I was just about to say, is the right-hand man behind you Jesse by any chance? Is it?
As will, of course, your own more covert operations. And he, like, reaches out, sort of like, I imagine he has to, like, get off his stool and walk over to you and extend his hand to shake yours.
Press F to shake hand. Then it's so actually, yeah. So his price wise, that's not really negotiable, is it? I think that's a reasonable.
It's gonna cost 1,000 gold to. This is, from your knowledge, a very reasonable price. The cost of actually like setting up a business, constructing the premises, hiring skilled workers. If he's willing to do all of that on your behalf for 1,000 gold, he's probably eating a loss to do this.
Does he want to be partner or something? Oh no, he doesn't want to be connected at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
oh, my line's going.
Benefit from doing this, but that doesn't seem to be immediately obvious. He doesn't seem to want any stake in the business.
Doesn't want to be connected to it in a well-known fashion. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Ott shakes his hand graciously and says, "Thank you very much for your."
I think it's sort of like, at this point we'll like cut to the rest of the party who have, like, over the course of this conversation, you've like immediately noticed, oh shit, Ott's missing. Guess he went to go have his meeting without us. and like Yolia, you will see what appears to be, a pink-haired gnome will like come in the front door, and like you have, met with Jedry Zigzag before, and this is clearly looks exactly like him, and like walks in, like makes a big show of like stretching. Like, oh, I'm so beat from a day of working in the gnome working establishment, and like walk walks past you and like briefly brushes past you, and you sort of like pass through a part of his clothing, at which point you notice that this is an illusion, and he like steps up to a bar stool and like makes a big show of making an order from the bartender, and like I imagine he would probably like sit down like right next to the rest of the party and like flash them a brief like thumbs up.
So a thumbs up and a wink.
Mhm. None of you guys recognize this guy.
Thumbs up back.
He makes, in fact, no, he would order something ale, in fact,
Friend.
and the bartender will like very surreptitiously like hand him a empty mug, which he will then pretend to drink from.
So the bartender knows to give this person nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Just play along with it. Right.
Mm-hmm. And a couple of minutes later, Ott will emerge upstairs and sort of like quietly exit the perception. I'd say that, Sarah, you probably noticed that the mug is empty, but you don't notice that this guy is in fact an illusion.
I was wondering if it was empty.
But a couple of minutes later, Ott will emerge from one of the side rooms and sort of subtly make his way back into the bar area and sit down with you all. At which point, the illusion of Jedry will, like, again, make like a big show of like stretching and acting like he's tired from his work at the nondescript gnome facility, and will go and leave the bar area and take a seat with some of the other patrons, where he will pretend to play a card game.
That guy's weird.
I
Seems
wouldn't
like a
worry
nice
about him
guy.
too much.
Yeah.
There's loads of weird people in Phalanx.
The bartender sort of like just gives you a nod and a shrug. You guys have met O'Malley.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, like, since we're up this end of the city, who fancies swinging by O'Malley's mum's house for some nice rosy apple pie?
You hear distant Irish screaming.
I was going to say that you have this weird sense that there is a being behind you of pure rage.
I can smell
You
something.
turn around, and there's nothing there, but you feel it at all times.
There's this weird smell in Phalanx. I don't know if it's just like Phalanx in general or O'Malley. O'Malley's presence.
Bartender looks a little bit offended.
Oh, it's quite fragrant in here. As like, is there a pot of flowers or anything like knocking around?
It's like some dead like flowers because there's no sunlight.
Yeah. Wow, those flowers must be expensive.
It's,
You must have spent a lot of money getting those flowers down here.
yeah, that's why I haven't replaced them. They were actually a gift from Jedry.
I'm gonna try and have some sent down to the pub.
What's with the creepy music?
Okay. 2,000 gold.
2,000 gold for some flowers. Oh my
You're the one who
goodness.
said they must be expensive.
Yeah, well.
I'm just following your world building.
Is that what he said? Or you said
No.
his DM said that? Okay.
No, I'm messing around.
Okay.
It wouldn't cost anything significant for you. It wouldn't cost.
5 gold or something. At what point do I need to give? Oh yeah, actually, I do need to talk to the party about it. But at what point do I need to give my friend Mr. Zigzag, Ziggy Stardust?
I will say upon completion of the project, so in 2 weeks' time.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's
We
probably
better
enough
make some
time.
money.
Yeah. Better hit the streets. I know. Got to go back to my old business,
Mhm.
selling my body. Yeah. So yeah, I'll explain to the rest of the party kind of that. I had a friend. I met up with my contact in the city. He's gonna build an organization for me. Actually, I'm not gonna explain it to. Yeah, no, I don't like.
I mean, if you want, you can leave and then wait until you're away from like a public setting to explain these things.
To be fair, I do have message. So can I message multiple people at once?
You would have to do it one at a time.
Okay. Yeah, why not? It's a cantrip, so.
And like one sentence at a time as well, because it's a cantrip.
It's fine. We'll go to a hotel or something.
Mhm.
Save the effort.
So yeah, it's like you're able to like just you don't even have to pay for your drinks. You're just able to like get up and leave and like get off the like main busy streets to a place where you are fairly sure that you won't be overheard.
Actually, before we leave, you know how these drinks are free?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna ask for 2 more mead, and then well, you tell me, is the bartender gonna go along with it?
He seems to just be listening to your order right now.
Yeah, 2 mead, thanks. And Ott's gonna pull out a. Oh, I thought I had a bag of. I was hoping I had like. Oh no, I do have a. Wait, what? Yeah, I do have a water skin. Ott's gonna empty out the water skin and fill it with the mead.
Okay, sure. The bartender like just sort of shrugs and like fills the water skin with mead. It's like you're not the first alcoholic to come in here and try and drink mead on the sly when they're at work.
It's easier to carry than whiskey. Less expensive. Wait, does whiskey exist in?
Yeah. Oddly enough, Scotch exists, despite the fact that Scotland doesn't. Invented by gnome inventor Jonathan Scotch.
Jonathan Scotch. Wait, so where's O'Malley from? Is he Ireland or Scotland? Because his accent.
He's from here in Phalanx.
He's from Phalanx.
His
He has an Irish accent.
Irish accent. Oh, okay. Ireland exists. Okay, we can leave.
Okay.
After wasting.
So I'm guessing Ott fills in the rest of the party on the details of his meeting.
Yeah, once we get to a secluded place where I don't have to worry about people overhearing.
Mm-hmm. Does anyone have any thoughts they would like to share with the class?
I need money, by the way, guys. Thanks.
Money.
Oh yeah, how much do we owe you?
Well,
For this
I'm going to play this
Kentucky
differently
Fried
to.
Hierarchy, or whatever it's called.
I'm going to play this differently to Hayar Kingdom, where Mr. Hayar wanted money for keepsies to build his kingdom, but I just want to borrow some money to start up a business, and I'll pay back my my dues in full.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Why do you need a small business loan when we are currently facing the threat of an imminent invasion?
That's not something you need to question. Just go along with it. Thanks.
Wait, you didn't explain that it's going to be for a spy network.
Yeah.
You're actually just asking for a small business.
I was
loan.
just going to say, I'm
So-
pretty certain y'all
I
know
thought we were just getting
exactly
fried
what
chicken.
the whole purpose is when he's asking for a loan, just because it's like, yeah, okay.
Because, like, I imagine that this, like, if Ott goes into a meeting with organized, like, crime, like, gangsters, and comes out and asks you all for money, I imagine that your first thought would probably be like, yo, Ott just got threatened. He owes the
Serious
money.
debt, man.
He got shook down.
I was in a game of cards down there, and it just went horribly wrong. So I owe a lot of guys a lot of money. Otherwise, going to break my legs.
Is this legit?
No.
Is this what you're? No, okay. You just
well,
you're just
no,
making a
Art's
joke.
saying it, but he's saying it in jest. He
Mhm.
makes it very obvious that it's a joke, but he's saying it for funsies.
So you need money, so you can
For a
get
business.
yourself a business.
It's a business that will favour our interests.
In what way?
I
I know who you spoken to.
Oh, you met him. Nice guy, pink hair. Weird colour, but yeah.
I just scowled at you for a minute.
It's alright. I didn't ask him about any of the business you had with him. I'll ask
Good.
you again in 30 days.
30 days? Why specifically 30
Counting.
days?
No, it's a cooldown timer. I'll ask you every now and again until you soften up and eventually tell me.
Hey, yeah. So, what happened in the Valley of the Dead, by the way?
Go away.
Okay, see you in 30 days.
Come back 30 days. What happened in there is you died if you keep asking me this question.
Okay, see you in 60 days. 120 days.
Okay, I was just gonna say. So, I basically say Gentry is offering to help build you a business that will benefit us.
Yes, it will
In
benefit
what
us
way?
in the sense of, well, so there's two things kind of going on here. The first one is the business, which will help me both currently and in the future, and then the primary reason of the mission, well, primary reason why I went to him. So the first reason why I went to him because he wanted me there to help me set up this business, and the second reason is I need him to help with the espionage of the Far Ward and finding out who's actually involved in spying and like getting tabs for Xernas.
How much do you need off us?
So in total, I will need 1,000 gold for setting up the business. I currently have a little over 450, so only a couple hundred gold off. Yeah, a couple hundred gold short. Logan, did
I
Mr.
am Logan.
Ziggy Stardust tell me how much he was going to require for the reconnaissance mission?
He said he was willing to do it pro bono.
Pro bono.
By the way, I've added the establishment to the basic strongholds.
What? Oh.
So, there we go.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Is this just for me to read or for everyone else?
This is available to everyone now.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah.
3,000 strongholds.
Hey, it's my kingdom. I should be able to see it.
Wait, so how much was yours? Was it yours to keep, the 10,000?
So the keep and the tower together, because of you setting up an alliance with Bulwark, came to 5,000.
Yeah, we had a discount, didn't we?
Friends and
Or a
family
deal
discount.
with the king.
Yeah, because you're renovating from a ruin, which is half cost and half time, and then on top of that, you also have a deal with the king, so that led to a further discount.
All right.
So at the moment, we have access to 2 more things to be built, which is the temple and the establishment.
And
You
as
need
well,
to-
it's
you need to
worth
update this. It
mentioning.
says 3, but it's meant to say 4 types now.
My mistake. Edit. 4 types.
So where
So
will
changes.
this business be located? Did he explain? I can't remember.
In High Kingdom.
Oh, actually in High Kingdom. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Says
I mean, it could be located anywhere, but you've got a stronghold and your own place where you're setting things up. I feel like
what is
fucking
this?
Bye.
Why on earth is this stuff just randomly coming
Oh
up?
God.
I mean, the
I
first
need to
random
fix the
thing, in
bot.
all honesty, was actually
Yeah.
me.
For
but-
next session. Spotify is just not working. Anyway, so yeah, you already like are setting things up within High Kingdom. So my assumption is that that's where you'll want your establishment to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My establishment will be on the south end of the island, far away from
Far away from the keep.
far away from the keep.
I mean, it's a perfectly ordinary civilian business. That makes sense to me.
yeah, it's just a chicken shop.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have chickens out back.
So I'm guessing this is a Breaking Bad reference that I don't get, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick. I'm gonna have to look this up so that I don't like make a mistake somewhere now. Anyway, I will say, if you would like, we can continue on until 10 o'clock for another 15 minutes and maybe do a little bit more with the stronghold.
Did I give it a name? I can't remember.
I mean, you said ID Kingdom, but that's it's a working title. You can change the name if you would like.
Okay. Elpem Loss, maybe. I don't know. Name of the just TBD.
Yeah. The I'm guessing that what is going to happen is over the next 4 days, you will return to High Kingdom. You will oversee the completion of the keep and the tower. And in the meantime, the Match Sellers Guild will be investigating Farward and trying to root out Xernas's agents who might be able to rumble your disguises. And the dragons will be attempting to gather intelligence on what the Fang of Immolation's attack strategy might be.
Okay, I think I've decided the name.
Okay.
El Camino.
El Chicmina.
So this is a play on El Camino, the Breaking Bad movie spin-off.
Gotcha. You want to type that one for me?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. That's what it will be called, El Chicmino. Spanish isn't a language in
So
in
these are
Horizon.
really just weirdly formed words.
Yeah.
For anyone even.
It's like people are going to assume like it's undercommon or something.
Yeah, it's going to be in common, but like it's just random letters as far as people are concerned.
Meaningful only to what? Who, of course, Spanish did exist in your world.
It was a dream.
You had Fantasy Spain.
Fantasy Spain. Yeah.
Okay. So if you'd like, we can continue on for another 15 minutes. There isn't a massive amount I'm expecting to get done. However, I would like us to sort of cover the next 4 or so days as you return to High Kingdom and you oversee the finishing touches on your keep and upon the construction of the elevator down to the surface below you. As well, you begin to see like some of the buildings where like temporary abodes have been set up. Some of the like construction workers and contractors, like having seen that this is going to be like an ongoing long-term project, would probably approach Hierarch and ask for permission to properly renovate houses for them and their families to live in. And
obviously, I say yes, just in case
yeah,
you're
so
waiting
I would
for some sort
imagine
of
that
confirmation.
yeah, like that's well, yeah, they asked you permission, but like I imagine that that's sort of the beginnings of High Kingdom's first permanent residence,
Yeah.
as like some of the construction workers and their families will now begin to permanently live here.
What are they going to call themselves?
Subjects of High Kingdom. higher subjects. I don't know. Higher serfs. The expectation here is that over time, now that Higher Kingdom has a permanent population, that permanent population will attract more people because they will want to buy things. They will want places to eat and drink. And this is how a town gets started around you guys.
How do people get to Hayar Kingdom?
They will take a ship. At the moment, there's a lot of airships coming and going, bringing construction materials. Over time, some of those ships will likely begin bringing other types of goods. Food, luxuries, materials for whatever shops might set up here.
Or like shop, you know.
An enormous amount of chicken, I expect.
Everyone else says, why is there so much chicken?
People of Hayar Kingdom just love chicken. You wouldn't believe. Just go down to the Plumbers District at the bottom there. Yeah, south of the.
Then we can start making holiday flyers and hand them out to different cities. Visit Hayar Kingdom for the best chicken in Horizon.
There's a lakeside resort. I'm sure will be set up at some point.
Well, what I will
A
say,
holiday destination there as well.
as a last order of business before we close the session, is a couple of things happen. After you have been back for one day, as the keep is now mostly constructed, along with barracks to hold most of, to hold and house forces that you are likely to hire in the future, you will see on the horizon, I imagine probably Risu, like being the most perceptive and like the most prone to just like looking out at the sky where you can fly. You would probably be the first one to spot this. There is a dwarven ship, it appears to be military in nature, approaching the island.
Okay, I'll let everyone know.
Squawk.
And it sends off a signal requesting the appropriate permissions to dock. And with your permissions, it is directed to dock at the harbour tower, where a armed and armoured dwarven warrior will descend the tower and come to meet you all at the base of the tower, where we're going to say, for the sake of the scene, you are all waiting for him.
Which tower?
Say again, sorry, Rob?
Which tower, sorry?
The harbour tower, down here.
In the south.
Oh, okay.
This is where currently ships are coming and going from. The dwarf will take a moment to survey all of you, and then he snaps unfamiliar military salute and says, "Lord Hyarkin and the virtuosos, my name is Captain Rurik Deep Timber of the Heart and Hammer Mercenary Company. Myself and my crew have come to pledge our service to you."
Okay, what services are you offering?
We had hoped to join the garrison you were building here. I was made aware that you were building a keep. That keep, I expect, will need standing forces, yes?
Yes.
Sorry, I've only given you my name. The Heart and Hammer Mercenary Company that represent, it's formed only of myself and my crew and our ship. We were at one point employed in the service of Falang. We heard about what you did with Ormadora, and when we heard that you were going to be setting up your own base of operations here, we decided that we would like to offer ourselves to be part of your employ.
Who's this guy?
And you can see like there's like a slight nervous sweat to him as like he kind of just expected this to be a formality.
Yeah, wait a
And it's
minute.
kind of dawning on him
Wait,
that, oh
I
wait,
just-
he
I
might
just-
not actually get the job.
Where's,
I
where's your
just-
TV?
I was just about to say, I cough and say, how many men do you bring?
Yeah, we need more information than this.
In addition to myself, I have a crew of 49. All of us veterans of combat, specifically within the domains of defense. There was a time when we left, when we were no longer in the employ of Phalanx and became a mercenary company. During that time, we've had various contracts to deal with pirates that have harassed the elves of the eastern skies. We're confident in our own naval abilities, although primarily we are experts when it comes to defensive maneuvers.
And how well equipped are you talking here?
He like gestures to himself, and you can see he's not like carrying magic items, but he is wearing full plate in good condition. He is like carrying like a maul, which appears to be non-magical, but certainly, you know, a high quality and serviceable weapon. He says, as well as that, our ship, the Heart and Hammer, is equipped with several cannons as well as firearms.
I look at it as I'm looking down. So, are you all equipped as you, or do you have a mix?
Some of my men prefer lighter equipment than this, but primarily we're involved. Our expertise is defensive maneuvers, so primarily, yes, we all wear heavy armor like this.
But you all combat in melee form.
It's our primary method of expertise. I am perfectly adept with a crossbow or a firearm, if that's what you would prefer us to equip ourselves with.
I turn to Hayark and says, "That'd be good to keep the island in check. Maybe even to use them at Farward."
Wait, so who sent
Do we
this
need
guy?
to, do we need to worry about how much this is
sent
going to cost
themselves.
us?
Oh, he sent himself.
Mhm.
Right.
I mean, you
What
got to
was his
think
name?
about it. We need someone to defend this land.
Yeah, we
I
do.
lo-
They
I
seem
lo-
pretty
I- I-
experienced.
I point out the obvious families of the builders, and say they need someone here. We can't protect them all.
Yeah, let's do it. We won't have to go out and find anyone. They've offered their services. They seem equipped for the job. We needed someone to do this. What does everyone else think?
Yeah, I think so. Makes sense. We do need people to keep this place safe.
They're a defensive. They operate better in defensive situations, so they're perfect as a standing guard for the Isle.
Yep.
With their own airship as well. It means that you can exert some strength into the space around the Isle, let alone just on the island itself.
Yep. Risu, do you think we should invite these people to come and work for us in our kingdom?
So what? He's offering to work for how much? Free?
That's actually a question.
You haven't
That's the
discussed
thing.
wages yet with him.
Yeah,
We need
How
to.
many are there? A crew of 49. Sorry.
yeah.
49.
You are essentially going to be paying like one monthly lump sum to cover the wages of all of your standing forces. This is just part of. It will be included within the operating costs of your keep.
It feels a bit weird to ask him how much it will be. It's something that we should already know, right?
This is something that like we can deal with
Yeah,
Out of
out
RP
of
if you would
character.
like.
Out of character, how
Yeah.
much would it cost to employ these?
The all of your standing forces will be paid for out of the operating costs of your keep, which will be 250 gold every 4 weeks.
250
But
gold.
that includes not just
Yeah.
the payment of your forces, but also like
What-
managing your keep, keeping it maintained, keeping it well equipped, training your forces, those
operating
sort of things.
costs. What are
Yeah.
they at the minute?
Nothing at the minute. The keep doesn't exist. Well, the keep is still under construction. They will be 250 gold every 4
And we've
weeks.
already paid for its construction, haven't we?
You haven't paid for it yet. It'll be 5,000 gold.
Yeah, but that's separate to the operating cost.
Yes.
That won't be the ongoing running of it once it's
Yeah.
up and running. Okay.
As it stands, the keep is currently 3 days away from construction. And
Okay. Yeah, so we'll need to bring some people in for when it opens up.
I mean, that's all. Like, you've already got an agreement set up, like, for all of that sort of things. You know, that's included in the money that you're paying to the king, to King Bulwark. Is like him sourcing like staff and such. However, another 3 days pass. The Heart and Hand Mercenary Company begin to like get themselves settled, set up quarters within the barracks in the keep, and begin to like take up patrols, begin to familiarize themselves with the island and with its defensive fortifications that still exist, and begin to like discuss with the foremen of the various construction companies what fortifications will be built in the future that they will have to be familiar with.
Yep.
And it is as your keep is approaching its completion, Risu, you will spot another unfamiliar ship. This one appears to be one of elven design, but much more practical than most elf ships you've ever seen. It appears to be equipped with enormous ballista and cannons, and this wide open deck, almost not even really a normal ship shape, almost like a flying flat board, more like a barge than a ship. Once again, you will have docking permission requested, and with your permission, the ship will be docked at the harbour tower. At which point, a very large elven man carrying an enormous longbow, like the size of him, will descend the harbour tower and greet you all and say, "Virtuosos of High Our Kingdom, my name is Captain Johann Philiven of the Commission's 17th Hunting Barge. Myself and my men have come to pledge our service to you."
Another one.
Oh my
Bloody
god, how
hell.
do these people keep finding us so quick?
Because you guys are incredibly famous and have saved a lot of lives.
God damn, we haven't even put
So,
the
like,
adverts out yet.
News. Well, like, this is something that has been, like, news has spread that, oh my god, this is what the Virtuosos are doing. And, like, you have your own representative in the Guild of Heralds who is spreading news of your adventures as they happen. And
Ott
spreading
still
your
hasn't
fame.
finished preparing all the posters to put in the shop windows of theatres.
You've
and
like spent the
community
last 3
centres.
days with like paintbrush in hand trying to like design a logo for El Chickminos.
Yeah, but I mean, like for High Kingdom as well. Like
Yeah.
on the side, he's been preparing like these signs to, you know, advertise this new kingdom that's coming about. There'll be new businesses and new jobs, and yeah, it's going to be the next bulwark.
I mean, like any of you who like, you know, have any like passing knowledge of like civil engineering and the city planning and such, which I don't imagine any of you would have like a lot of intimate knowledge of. But yeah, this is real fast.
So what's this guy's purpose? What's he offering?
Okay, if you're asking for his expertise,
Yeah.
you will say, we previously, up until now, were one of the hunting barges within the Hunters Commission. We specialize in dealing with beasts, monsters, both on the surface and primarily within the skies. The Hunters Commission has a very long and storied history of accepting contracts and being used to deal with unruly monsters, nests of wyverns, of flying beasts that threaten trading routes and territories. We don't have a lot of magical expertise, however, we are very practically skilled and very well equipped specifically for dealing with non-humanoid enemies.
How many
And,
are there?
You guys, the hunting barge, again, it'll be another 50 men total.
Okay.
So, to kind of clarify the situation here, upon completion of your keep, you will gain access to 3 units who will be under your command. The first unit is Zeltar. The second unit is the Heart and Hammer Mercenary Company. And the third unit offering their services to you currently are the Commission's 17th Hunting Barge, captained by Johann Philippen. Each are veterans in their own right, each with their own specialties. However, whoever takes command of the keep will be in command of these forces.
What's this elven guy's name and the other guy?
Johann. So
Johann.
this one is Johann.
So it is. I will type them for you. Rurik, Deep Timber, and Johann.
He's the person that came over from the Heart and Hammer.
Yes.
Yeah. Rurik Deep Timber is the one who's the leader of the Heart and Hammer mercenaries.
Yes, the dwarven warrior, and Johann Philippen is the elven hunter. One thing worth noting as well: the crew that has been bought with Johann is a much more diverse mix. The Heart and Hammer Mercenary Company had been crewed entirely by dwarves. The Commission accepts members from all races of all sizes. So there would be like a mix of elves and Aarakocra and tieflings and some dwarves.
What's Johann's team? Sorry, called?
He's not part of a formal mercenary company. He's a former member of the Hunting Commission. And the barge appears to be a former hunting barge, which he now owns.
Cool.
Guess we take them on board. What does everyone else think? It does feel a bit weird that we've not gone out to look for anyone, so there could be a lot better people out there, but they're coming to us.
Well, it's a good place to
and
start.
we're just accepting them straight away. But I guess we got nothing to compare them to, so
It's a good place to
anything's
start.
better than nothing, yeah.
Wouldn't turn them down if they're going to defend the island.
I will sort of specify like above board. The idea here is that you guys have sort of attracted these.
Things.
Well, like the idea is that you guys had sort of, with your adventures, affected the lives of the people of this world, and some of the people of this world have been impressed enough by you and your actions that they are willing to come and live on your island or willing to come and work for you without you having to search for them.
Okay.
If you wanted to go out and search for your own troops, either hire mercenaries or hire permanent standing forces, that is something you can do. It's just a bit time consuming, and right now you're kind of on a tight time schedule.
Yeah, makes sense.
What I
try
will
them then.
say is that, like, you guys are all, veterans of combat yourself. You're able to get a fairly accurate measure of someone's strength.
Yeah.
These guys aren't like high level, super badasses, but they are all like veterans.
They're
These
not
aren't
top tier 'cause
ordinary
they-
soldiers. These are high level soldiers.
They've
They're
all
not
got to
just
be.
tier because they can't get employed anywhere else.
Oh,
No, these
sad.
guys have voluntarily come to you because they think you are something special.
We got to put them through a test against Yolya. Non-lethal, of course, but
Hmm.
Set up some training grounds.
yeah. I mean, Yolya will probably demolish all of them, but
In
Yeah,
one-on-one,
roll
Yolya
10
would
dice
wipe the
one after
floor
the
with
other.
literally anyone who comes to this island. But she would probably be able to get a fairly good measure of like how skilled they are. And like, yeah, these aren't ordinary soldiers. These guys are pretty tough.
Yolya's kind of just been like contemplating stuff at the moment, and it was like, "Sorry, what you want me to fight Johan?"
Go on,
Johan,
Johan.
like,
Are you?
Do we have to run after Yongya and get her to stop? No. He's trying to join us, not kill us.
Oh, right.
He came to the island just to park up, politely walk over and say, "You're gonna die. Fight."
I mean, like, Johan's ready to prove himself. Like, he'll fight if you want him to.
Do we have to get him to stop as well? They're both charging towards each other.
Like, he's kind of like, a big, just like muscle brain guy. He's used to fighting monsters. So, like, you're like, yeah, you want me to prove myself? I'll prove myself.
No, stop. It's okay.
However, I think that is probably as good a finishing
higher.
place as any.
How
for
much
this
will that
session.
cost us?
Again, this will just be a part of your operating cost, so it'll be covered by the same 250 gold.
Oh, okay. It doesn't go. up
Paying
as
for
we
all
go
of your
along.
units will be included in your operating cost.
Where does the money come from for the operating
So
costs?
You.
the more
Oh.
people that join, the less they actually get.
Yeah, I mean, we're abstracting this for the sake of convenience.
Yeah, I get it. They're not actually getting a pay cut every
Yeah.
time some new people join.
Again, like, D&D isn't actually really built for this,
Yeah.
so...
Come on, what's the
Right.
economics of this? I want to see the
That's
Uh,
next session.
I want to see Elchik Mino on the stock market, the
Kill me.
Bulwark stock market. What's it trading at in gold?
That's it. We need a financial hub.
I mean,
I
why-
actually do
why
have,
not
like,
the Arcade?
rules written up for, like, you guys taking control of the keep and the wizard tower and all that, but it will have to wait for next session. However, we will begin next session with your strongholds completed at level 1 and construction beginning on the Elchik Mino, the establishment for art.
So is there like scaffolding around the keep still?
Yeah. I would say
So
that, like,
it's
for all intents and purposes, the stronghold is completed. It is a finished product, and it looks like a finished thing. There is room for improvement in it. It could be expanded, it could be renovated, and essentially you can invest time and money to level up each of your different parts of your stronghold, the Wizard's Tower, the Keep, the establishment, in order to get more bonuses from them, in order to have more soldiers at your command, in order to be able to research more spells, in order to be able to get more information from your spy network.
Is there running water?
There is running water, yes.
Amazing.
It so that's like one of like the logistical things which has long since been solved on these floating islands is
It's tricky when you
running
don't have a
water
screen.
is something which is magically solved. Decanters of endless water are common magic items because they have to be, because like there's ships that are flying for months without access to any water. So-
What's underneath Hayar Kingdom? It's just a crater, a pit.
Yeah, I mean, I can show you on the map, but you are within Francisca's domain, in fact. You are, within 1 hex of Vitara and within 2 hexes of Francisca's home.
Antares. So when the island comes crashing down on the second apocalypse, I just want to make sure we're not going to crush another city.
There is no civilization beneath you except for what you are going to build. And I should mention, your elevator is completed now. You are
Yeah, I was
ready
gonna
to
say
travel down to the surface if you would like.
I was about to say we're getting an option to go down there, aren't we?
Mhm.
That
Like,
doesn't
at
pose
the moment,
any sort of like security risks, does it?
I
With things
mean,
coming from the surface.
it poses the obvious security risk, but this is something you discussed when this initially started. There is warding lanterns, which will keep most of the minor to moderate threats at bay, full stop. And beyond that, most monsters aren't smart enough to operate an elevator.
It's like zombies in Minecraft
Mostly.
climbing ladders.
Some of them are, but most of them aren't.
Okay. And are there specific things that we can only build on the surface that don't work in the sky, or vice versa?
I mean,
or is it just extra room for us to expand?
yes, space is very limited in the sky.
Yeah.
Obviously, very limited opportunities for mining in the sky, for example. You have a skystone field quite near to you, which is something that can be mined from, but it gives certain types of resources. Space for farming, of course, very limited in the sky at a massive premium.
But agriculture you kind of need to do in the sky where there's sunlight.
You say that, but people have been living on the ground for thousands of years. There is no green foliage on the surface, but there are plants that will grow.
Huh.
Life finds a way.
I'm gonna recruit a team to research how plants grow without any sun.
The same way that plants grow in the desert. They will adapt to the circumstances.
I can imagine Sahara over here is a desert.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm going to stop derailing you, Logan,
Mm-hmm.
and let you finish the session.
Yep. Good game, everyone. Thanks for coming online.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very
nice
much.
to have Matt back and alive and in person.
Oh, I can believe Matt rolls 100 on the resurrection
I
check.
really think Roll20 messed up because there was 2 nat 100s and a nat 10 straight.
The thing is, I would agree with you, but then Sarah immediately tried the exact same thing and rolled a 29.
Yeah, and you also rolled an 18 machine as well. I don't know. It looked sketchy.
It is.
It's possible, but...
it is possible, but at the far end of probability.
Yeah.
I'm happy to accept it as it happened. I don't think there was any foul play, so...
Matt hacks the servers, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Matt specifically hacked into Roll20 with his elite hacker skills in order to roll good on a resurrection check.
Weatherspoons is just a code name for
my
hacking company. He's actually Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot.
Anyway.
But yeah, thanks for coming online, everyone.
Good
Next
game.
session will be probably dealing with a little bit of stuff for the setting up of High Our Kingdom. And then I expect dealing with the Fang Immolation, or beginning to.
Awesome. And hopefully a little bit of a weird way of trying to fool.
Mm-hmm. Illusion magic.
Illusion magic from people.
So and also picking up the sonic oscillator, I guess, because that'll be ready now.
Yeah. So are we going to discuss the whole mercenary companies that are now employed under us in the next session as well? Then.
Yeah, that can be something that you manage, giving your orders to them.
Yeah. Okay. Then.
Right,
and obviously, you will have to decide who is going to be taking command of the tower, which I assume will be Hierarchin, and who is going to be taking command of the keep.
Right, I'll see you guys in a bit then. Sorry, I've got to shoot off.
Yeah,
no
worries.
See you, Matt.
I think I'm going to do the
See you later,
same.
guys.
See ya.
See you, thanks for coming on.